Yep, we're live.
Nice.
We're gonna put a little delay in. Give a second for everybody to catch up. Join the stream. Let's see how this goes.
See how this goes.
And all I gotta do is go live on Facebook now. Let me see the settings here. Live video. Allow embedding and publish after video ends. Cool. See the event logs here. Oh, it doesn't like our frame rate, but it's gonna work. Okay, let's just do this.
We're doing it.
We're live on Facebook too.
That is exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what we didn't do?
What?
I didn't start recording on Zoom. Now we are.
There you have it.
Oh no, we just lost the bars because I just minimized the OBS screen and now they're back. Okay, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to do a tiny little intro just to make up for lost time. Oh, there we go. Welcome to the scary house. The house that makes you confront your principles. Your host, David Cameo, and other host, Carol Gallardo, will be taking you on a journey to the scary house.
That was pretty damn creepy.
So was this episode, Carol. Welcome.
Yes, it was. It was.
Wasn't it? Welcome to Squawking Dead. That's all I have. On this first inaugural YouTube live feed, as well as a nice little our three-peat YouTube live recording. I don't know many people that actually do that go live on Facebook while going live on YouTube.
We're pioneers. What can I tell you?
We're prospectors in the new frontier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, things look good. Oh, look, my cousin's already on. Is joining us on the stream. Hey, Mo.
Oh, that's awesome. Hi.
Yeah, join us in the chat. If you watch Fear the Walking Dead, you're gonna love this episode, directed by Michael Satrazemis, executive producer.
Who was very chatty with you.
Yeah, I was hoping I could get some answers to some questions that I wanted to bring up at the end of the episode. So I'm leaving that in the pocket until the end.
But we're gonna give all that up.
Yeah, not yet. You know what? I don't have any way of checking it because my phone's charging in the other room, and I asked them via Instagram, a direct message. But you know what? We will get to that because I think you will be intrigued by my analysis when it comes to the end of it, at least the end of it. As far as the rest goes, we're going to just really break this down chronologically because it's just a lot going on with this episode. Mm-hmm. This is, as you can see from the graphic, the lovely placed graphic and volume bars at the bottom of the screen. We're watching episode 10. This is Close Your Eyes is the episode. I feel so corny right now. Like I'm not usually, if you turn to page 8.
I know, it's like school, right? It's like, if you please turn your attention.
Right. Now, third paragraph, fourth line, read, Carol.
Oh, God. Yeah. it's a, you know, it's a little bumpy when you approach it that way, but no, I thought this was a pretty solid. I got to tell you, I was skeptical about this episode.
Really? Tell me why you were skeptical first.
I did not see it.
I know why, but yeah, go ahead.
I did not see it on Sunday when it originally aired.
Right.
So I saw it afterwards, but I knew that the premise of it was that it was basically what we call bottle episodes, where it was just, focused on one or two characters and that's it. So I knew it was just Alicia and Charlie.
Well, like in a closed setting too, usually,
exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. On like a limited setting.
Right.
Almost kind of like a play in a way. And So I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, am I, we'll see how this goes. But I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was very emotional and it gave me throwbacks. And I don't know if it was intentional or not
Okay.
to certain old Walking Dead episodes, like The Grove with Carol and Look at the Flowers. Um, Also, even more so when they were in the basement with the water. There was an episode in The Walking Dead with Bob where he first initially got bit, remember, on the leg?
That's
Like,
right.
and I think it was in a similar circumstance. I feel like they were in some sort of basement and there was walkers under what there was something like that. I want to say it was something like that. And that's how he got bitten and he hid it from everybody. And that's why
Oh,
everybody didn't know.
was this with Father Gabriel's parishioners? That
I
basement
don't remember.
with the
It might have
librarian
been.
walker?
It might have been. It might have been.
Okay. Okay. I'm up to speed. I'm up
Yeah.
I'm stuttering.
Yeah, yeah, you're up to speed. You know what's going
I'm
on.
on speed. Uh, so this is good because as we go through each scene, what you can do is like just inject whatever throwbacks you're feeling at the time. Because I mean, I didn't really get the throwback vibe. I mean, obviously, look, Michael Satrazemis directed The Grove also, so you have
Did he
that.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait? I thought you knew that. Yeah,
no.
this is him. This is
It's the
he.
same director?
We pray on his altar. Yeah, it's the same director. Or is it Cherokee
Oh,
Rose? No, it was both. The Grove and Cherokee Rose.
that is definitely, I did not know that.
Yeah, I mean all the visuals, all the framing of key shots, lighting, contrast,
Uh-huh.
like just perspectives, the way he's able to capture things in focus, out of focus. That's him. That he's made probably I'd say he's probably the most recognizable. If you had a gun pointed to your head and you had to choose between who was this and who was that, and you were told one, and then you could probably figure out the rest. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's recognizable. He's made the probably the best produced Walking Dead episodes in
Really?
the
You think
show's
so?
history. Yeah, I mean,
Interesting.
I can't say about the beginning, but later on, he kind of nailed it.
Yeah. How interesting. See? Learning something new every day, man.
Yeah,
Every day.
yeah. See, and now you're starting to cozy up. You're like, oh, tell me more about this. So
Yeah.
now what you're gonna have to do, and your mind's gonna get blown. You're gonna go to IMDb, find out which
I
episodes he
am.
directed, which
Exactly.
ones he produced. Yeah, and the ones he produced, he pulls the strings. He's got the cinematographer on tap. He chose Adam Suschitzky for this season. But who, by the way, I can't believe I didn't bring this up. Did
Mm.
I tell you that he was? Oh, I must have. Adam Suschitzky is the
Uh-huh.
son of, I think it's Peter Suschitzky, and his father directed, or sorry, did the exact same thing. The director of cinematography, the DP, or
Mm-hmm.
director of photography for
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars.
No, you did not tell me that. I would remember. How crazy.
I was trying to gather a ton of facts for our ramp up. I mean, I guess it doesn't really totally apply, but I found this out and I actually asked him. I said, "You are among legends." Like, and his father actually did something too with regards to film. So
Mm-hmm.
it just runs in the family. He's English, and it's crazy. And we've got like legends in the house for Fear the Walking Dead, and this is who
Seriously.
Satrazemis picks. He's they're like they work like in this syncopation, and it's amazing. It's
That
it's it's the
is,
dream team.
that's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah. So you should read about his dad because his dad brought some interesting elements to, and I saw this in like one of those Nerd Writer YouTube channels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, his father did some interesting things with lighting when it came to Darth Vader, and also like just all throughout this what the director of photography roles that he played in some of them. I think he was replaced or he replaced somebody else when it came to director of photography. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, his dad did some interesting things with Lord Vader.
Lord Vader. That is so funny.
Yeah, so there you go. So we're covering some bases in terms of the way things were filmed, thanks to Michael Satrazemis. So, yeah, I mean, I'd like to let you start at the top and give us your thoughts, just from the outset.
Just from the onset, just kind of talking chronologically.
Yeah, just walk us through the door, literally.
I thought that was an amazing shot. I really enjoyed that opening shot. I think that the cinematography was really nice in terms of like some of these shots, but that one especially. I even drew it in my little notebook where I was writing my
You drew
notes.
the actual black
I did.
outside.
I did. I actually drew. I'm looking at my notebook right now as we speak, and I
Oh,
drew that little kind of corridor shot. Remember, I am an architect by trade.
oh yeah.
So you're going, yeah, I forgot about that. Duh.
Damn.
So I drew my little corridor shot. I thought it was just really nicely framed. It was really, really nicely framed. And I feel like it just kind of set the tone for this sort of like tunnel vision, bleak, light in the darkness sort of kind of ambiance. I thought it was really cool. And I think it really set the tone. And the sounds, like from the outside, all the howling winds. Like there were times that I really thought that I honestly confused the howling winds for like, and it maybe was intentional that you're not necessarily sure. Well, you don't know if they're like walkers. You don't know if it's necessarily howling winds because sometimes like I honestly was not sure. I was like, is that a walker or is that like the wind? No, that's that's coming up. That is coming up. By the way,
Yes, I love a by the way. You're the best at by the ways.
I am all about by the ways.
That's true.
That is. It's my whole life is a tangent. So
a book by Carol.
Yeah, I know. It's like blip. So I do have some Walking Dead news.
Oh, good. Yes, more of that.
Before we dive into this episode, and it's not much, but I did notice on the Walking Dead Instagrams that they are, they are driving me crazy.
Wait, who exactly?
Well, basically, the Walking Dead Instagram, official Instagram, posted, and I don't know if you saw, it was a side-by-side shot of Rick from the comic and the actor, what's his name, Ross Marquand.
Oh no! Wait, this was I think it was Walking Dead base, by the way.
This is like the official Walking Dead, the Walking Dead,
was it?
And yes.
Okay.
I'm looking at it right now.
Because Walking Dead base does that too sometimes, and it's really easy to confuse.
I know they do, but this is like the official The Walking Dead. And basically what they were, this is another one of their little teasers. Remember how they did the thing with like Rick where they were like, or don't believe everything that you read or hear or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. It's probably one of those things, but yeah.
But the interesting thing is that it's a side-by-side shot of Rick from the comic and then the character of Aaron. Right. And if you notice how he's been lately, he's been sort of like with this kind of crew cut, but with this sort of beard sort of thing. And honestly, it looks exactly like Rick from the comic, which is why they do this side by side. And their comment is, at Ross Marquand is looking a lot like the comic version of Rick these days, with a little thinking smiley, little thinking emoji face.
Right. The
yeah.
With the hand on the chin.
Exactly.
Goddamn internet trolls.
So now people are going all sorts of speculation because apparently.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Now, I did not go on the Spoiling Dead website, but when I looked at the Instagram and I looked at the comments and the thread, there are people obviously who do go to the Spoiling Dead. And apparently the Spoiling Dead has confirmed that the character Aaron loses a arm, which is.
I heard that it was somebody, but I didn't know if it was him specifically.
So then a lot of people start speculating, well, this is what happened to Rick in the comic. Rick loses an arm. Is Aaron replacing Rick? Is this what's going on? Or blah, blah, blah. I don't think that any of that is the case, honestly. I think that they're taking all sorts of various aspects that are related to Rick and just basically remixing it. Different characters are going to get different aspects. That's all.
Oh, I don't like
That's my personal take on it.
I you know what? It sounds like an attempt to try to, I don't want to say backpedal, right? But... but like more like appease the comics fans,
possibly.
And that's a real recipe for disaster, in my opinion. Because
I don't like the teasing. I mean, to me, I'm just sort of like, I'm fine when they release like, okay, more images from this coming season. That's fine. That's a fine tease. I don't care about that. But this sort of stuff to kind of put it out there, it's like, oh, they're looking a lot like this. Oh, don't believe everything that you read. It's like, come
You
on.
know, I won't believe that either.
No, no. I think it's all just trying to throw people off the scent and, what have you. It's just, it
Well,
doesn't.
unless it's one of those things where, oh yeah, he loses a limb, but he loses his life too.
Oh God, I know he
That's
was.
terrible. Wouldn't that be like? I mean, in a really weird, see what you get when you do that.
Uh-huh,
That kind of satisfaction. But
uh-huh.
like, obviously, I don't want to lose Aaron. But at the same
Hmm.
time, I kind of just want to show these people up.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you get. That's what you get.
God, unbelievable.
That's the last time you get hope on this show.
No, you can't get hope.
That you know what's going on, but you really don't.
No, no, you cannot. Cannot.
All hope is lost. I don't know. This
But
voice is not going away anytime
no, you're
soon.
not. You are really making use of it tonight.
Well, as long as you can hear it.
No, it's clear.
Okay, good.
It can be heard.
Good.
And the other news, which you know about, which we've already commented on,
Okay.
Talking Dead this weekend is having Mr. Drew Scott from Property
Oh
Brothers.
yeah.
I was so excited when I saw that for multiple reasons.
I'm so glad I decided to like out you, sort of.
No,
I outed
no
myself,
shame.
obviously.
I
But
have
yeah,
no shame. I have no shame when it comes to that.
I know that already, but not everybody knows that.
This is true.
It's one thing for you to out yourself, but another thing for me to do it for you.
It's fine. That is
Under the
totally
banner of our podcast for another thing. It was like, wait, it's okay if it's my personal account.
But it's true. Like there is nothing wrong with HDTV. And as
No.
a matter of fact, when when AMC the Talking Dead account on Instagram posted about this, I'm looking at it right now, and some of the comments are hilarious because there's somebody who commented, it's like, oh, is he rebuilding Alexandria? Ha 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 ha.
Cute.
Very cute. Very cute.
Yeah. Oh, I
But
think I added to that comment too. It's like, oh,
did you really?
it takes house hunting to the next level.
Oh,
Literally.
did you?
Yeah, I said something in that comment. I mentioned something about that. Maybe he'll
Oh,
teach us to
God.
literally house hunt.
I did not realize that he was a fan. I guess he is.
Oh, he was on there before, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For Fear or for Walking Dead?
Oh, that's a good question. I would
Must have been Fear.
say Fear. Yeah, say
Must
Fear the
have-
Walking Dead. We can scroll back, but yeah, I know it was recent, and I know it was when we were podcasting. I'll just say that much.
Wow.
So maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was The Walking Dead. I don't know. But there are too many good stars for The Walking Dead, or stars. I mean, actors from the show.
I mean, yeah, the cast is so full. They've got their hands full already in
Yeah.
terms of like people to put on.
We don't got time for them fillers.
No, I mean it's hard to like have like I mean you're limited in terms of how many people you can have on a panel. So I mean when you already have like a cast of thousands, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, totally. So wait, so we're done with the news, and
I think we are. That's all my color commentary on news that I have.
I'm glad I got you're the straight man. If you're bringing up the news, I'm the color commentary. I was like, I don't know nothing. I just comment on things.
True. That is true. You are the color
Yep.
commentary.
So yeah. So okay. So yes, you drew the thing. Would you be willing to share that on your on the Instagram?
Yes.
I could do something with that maybe, because then I could make yeah. Just send it to me,
I will do that.
and I'll do something cool with that.
Will do.
I think. So at the top of the show, at the top of the episode, like you were saying, you see Alicia cautiously approaching the house from the outside. There's a shot from the inside of the house where it's like kind of all dark on the inside, but the light is pouring in from the outside, sort of. And
Yeah.
it's framing the glass on the door, on the window. Wait, the windows on the door, the square windows.
Yeah, the
Just
the panes.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And as she's approaching the house, like, I think the first observation I made is like, she looks a lot like a walker.
Yeah,
from the outside.
I mean, she was like, I mean, she is sort of like the Walking Dead right now. I mean, she's just,
Literal.
yeah, I mean, she's just kind of dead inside, and she's just sort of, kind of existing.
Yeah.
That's as much as she's doing right now.
That's as much as she's capable of doing.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, and so there are a couple things that I wrote down, and that's like how this scene has, at least in this first scene, just noting the differences between the dark house and
Mm-hmm.
then the bright window. Like even though it's
Right.
like pouring rain, it's still
Mm-hmm.
brighter outside than
Yes.
it is on the inside of that house.
Yep.
So there's that. There's that feeling of tunnel vision.
Yes.
And even how the window on that door was framed in the middle, but like, really zoomed out at first. It gives you this feeling of like loneliness, of dread. And then later on, all of these things kind of ramp up your anxiety as you're watching it. Just the way that it was shot, how people are framed, how Alicia in many different shots in this episode, she's mostly full form. So you really get a sense of like her being alone, making herself alone, in this world. Did I lose you? Oh no. Guys, I lost Carol. Let's see what's going on. Dum 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 doo. Doodle doo. Hey Carol, get on the chat. Let's see if this works. We're having technical difficulties. I don't know if... Oh, she's out. She's done. She's gonzo. I've never been alone on the show before. So, actually, yes, I have. If you remember Call and Response, we've had that series where I actually literally filmed the entire episode and kind of spit out my thoughts for Carol to respond to. That's actually episode 18. So what we did there was I actually filmed... I did a whole podcast because we had to cover 2 episodes at a time. We were falling behind. And I did a whole thing. And then I just inserted Carol's comments, some of the unique and colorful comments that she made. And we did a big edit of both episodes. And actually didn't turn out to be as long as our normal podcast for some reason, because I was just literally racing through it, and with me unchecked emotionally. So I had some like really interesting emotional thoughts about those 2 episodes, what these people must have been through, and all that. So I'm gonna check to see if Carol's on Facebook right now, and let's see what's going on. And yeah, so we've had a several really good runs of episodes, and we mostly kick them out on time. And let's see here. Yeah, and I think later on in the season there's like this tendency to fall behind. I moved, Carol went on vacation, so you get questions like these all the time. This is hysterical. Technical difficulties. This never happens. Wait, I wonder, is there a limit to how long you can go live on Facebook? I'm going to do some sleuthing. Oh, her internet crashed, folks. She is communicating with me. Yep, there we go. Ding dong.
So there was a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And
it's when the cat goes across the floor and it goes across the floor again. Ooh.
I wish I could say that there was an actual cat here. I don't even know what the hell happened. All of a sudden, like mid-conversation, everything just kind of like...
Just like Juan Pereira.
No idea.
Just like, what's his name? Morales.
Oh, gosh.
Daryl got you, basically. Oh, no.
I just can't... It's so bizarre. Like I'm just glad I didn't have to completely reboot my computer. I was like, oh man, if I have to like shut down and restart, this is gonna like kill me.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever worked your computer so much that you can hear like it like almost like the turbines running.
Yeah, my computer runs hot all the time. I mean, look, especially with what we're doing right now. I have 2 OBS sessions open. We're streaming to Facebook and YouTube. The stream
Yep.
actually took a small poop while just a second ago. But I'm surprised the fans aren't ripping right now. I multicasting usually takes the same stream and splits it up across like several billion times, but without impacting your upload speed and all that stuff. So, yeah, so we're good to go. So what I was saying at the beginning was that as you walk in the door, you get the sense of tunnel vision. Tunnel vision breeds anxiety and like claustrophobia. So again, the deliberate shooting of these episodes already gets you. It's like the McDonald's effect, the whole red and yellow makes you hungry sort of thing. That whole marketing thing. So they latch on to these things, these key fears that people have, and there's like claustrophobia, being afraid of the dark. And there were other things too that I noticed throughout the episode, which is that in many scenes you see Alicia, like, first of all, like head to toe. In these in the way the shots are framed, it's as if the ceiling is low and the walls are touching, so like the walls are closing in on her. So you get the sense of loneliness, but you also get the sense of panic. And, so there's just the way that was shot. So so even in the opening shot, she's like walking to the door like a walker, and the hallway is completely dark. So all you see is the window light, the light coming through the window, even through this massive storm. It's brighter outside than it is inside. So it's just worth mentioning that, because the way it's being shot is amping you up. Like it's pushing adrenaline to your system, fight or flight, that whole thing. So it's like, you're getting prepped for this really windy, chaotic inside and outside. So just really, really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done.
So, and by the way, just to give people context, if they don't remember, she left Morgan out in the storm.
I know.
Just and wanted to be alone. And yeah, I was even thinking that last week. I'm like, yeah, that's a dick move. Like,
yeah, it's pretty messed up, right?
Like, kind of like a kid. Like, I want to be alone. Be alone in my room.
Yeah, I mean,
like, really? You're gonna leave a man out there?
It is pretty bratty. It is pretty bratty.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to note was that when she gets into the house, you'll notice that she kind of breaks in.
She does, yeah.
And it's the same door that she has to end up nailing shut. There's like something like, there's like kind of like an allegory to that. It's like when you open a door you can't close again.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So that the episode kind of deals with that a little bit when we talk about, taking life. You don't want to open a door that you can't close again. That sort of thing, which is like death. Or close a door you can't open again, that sort of thing. So I just thought that was interesting too.
It was interesting. There were a lot of what do you call it?
Imagery?
Yeah, definitely a lot of imagery. I mean, I thought that it was pretty successful, especially like all the photographs of the family, which would definitely kind of keep coming back as like a reoccurring point, throughout the episode.
Yeah.
Which obviously strikes a chord in both Charlie and Alicia.
Yeah, it's kind of like I was going to say, it's kind of like the background music to this episode is this family. The family that the family that lived in this house, or at least survived in this house. And so that's the background music. Now, why I chose background music randomly, but what I did want to bring up is that there is no background music in this entire episode.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Until the end, like near the end, when they finally, spoiler alert. I mean, you're here. You're here because you want to talk about this episode. But spoiler alert. They get out. Eventually.
They get out.
And that's when the music actually starts. And it's really interesting. Like, I didn't notice it in the first watch. I'm like, there's no music. And it's usually something that I notice with the, because like I was telling to you offline, I think it was like last week, I was doing all the research for the background music, and it's Daniel Bensi and Sonder Jurians. They're doing the score for this season, and they've been killing it, totally killing it. And like I didn't notice until the end. I'm like, I'm not actually hearing anything. Like this is all rain and wind and all that stuff.
Yeah,
So,
that's all it was. That was the backdrop throughout the whole episode, or most of it,
and shutters and all that stuff.
Ugh, yeah.
But yeah, so I think it was right after that. Oh no, not yet. Oh yeah, and like you said, the walkers that she ends up dispatching in the house, right?
Yes.
This is the family that passed away in it.
Yeah.
And laying them out, and you see like she's laying them out on the ground outside.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with the pictures, basically removing any sense of feeling maybe sympathy for for this family, just like any semblance of somebody who might have lived here.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But she lays them out just in the same manner, unknowingly probably, but in the same manner as the photo on the mantle.
As the photograph, yeah.
Yeah, because it cuts directly from them being on the grass as walkers to the way they are in the photo, and it's just it's haunting.
Very sad. Yeah, very haunting.
Yeah, and it's meant to kind of, I think, also kind of pull your strings as well, because, I mean, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
After you see so many gross ass walkers, you don't think of them as having to used to be people, right?
I think that's a very good point. I feel like we become so desensitized, unfortunately, that sometimes we kind of forget. And I feel like this episode was a good reminder about that, because I do think that we forget. And sometimes, even in terms of, and we'll get to it, like Charlie being, for the most part, suicidal, and you kind of forget, like, I mean, look, these people have gone through, and I mean, like, on Fear, and I mean The Walking Dead, and just anybody who's a survivor at this point have gone through some unspeakable, horrific circumstances.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, it is very hard to not imagine you being in that same mindset, because what do you have to go on? Like, what is your purpose of going on? It is excruciating, and it's heartbreaking, but I mean, it's a punch to the stomach, because it's true, and I think it did kind of bring back the reminder, like, hey, these were people once too, and I mean, this is a lot. And you have to remember, Charlie's also, I don't know
like
how
12.
much you can. That's what I figured. She must be like 11 or 12.
Well, the actress is 12, but yeah.
Yeah, like you figure, like, it's somewhere in that age range. I mean, that is excruciating, So I do. I think that we kind of forget, and I think it's a little reminder of, like, these things aren't just like random monsters or something. It's like, these are people.
Right, and that's kind of a credit to Michael Satrazemis, is that he put this challenge onto himself to try to get the audience to also see these walkers as people, or at least to get the sense that somebody died here. They were they were a family. They were trying to survive also. This is what's left of them, the pictures, their bodies, and a story that basically gets told. So another thing I noticed, speaking of that specifically, though, is, and when you mentioned the bottle episode, I was thinking to myself, a person could literally turn on this episode, watch it on its own, and it be its own story.
Yeah, I agree.
Did you notice that, like, beginning to end, you did not need context to this episode in order to understand it. So on that effect, I would recommend anybody who hasn't even caught up yet. Yeah, I mean, like, there is one spoiler, but I don't think it's enough to break your mind and break the show, because even that spoiler, there's a before and there's an after,
right?
In terms of context, there's a whole thing that swirls around that because of the time jumping that went on in the first half of this season. So, yeah, I would recommend this episode to anybody.
No, I think that this is one of those episodes that stands the test of time on its own. I don't think that you need to understand all the context in order to appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you right. And this is the second question I'm going to ask Michael Satrazemis. I'm going to be like, hey, listen, you trying to get that Emmy? Because if I was in charge, you get it.
Probably are, I mean, listen, it was very, very well done. I thought it was very well done, but it's true. I don't think that you need to be necessarily like a diehard fan of the show to appreciate it.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest. I'd venture to guess.
And that's the impressive part.
Yeah. So it's like it's the quintessential bottle episode where and what I mean by that is you can walk in, no context, enjoy this episode for what it is. Context is revealed in just naturally throughout the episode. Each scene leads into the next, and certain things will get called back on, like the gun and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But before we do that, cool ass intro. That was a cool ass opening sequence.
How do you feel about these intros? Because I wrote that in my notes with the intro.
I'm loving it. I love what they did with this one too, though.
Yeah.
With the where you could barely hear the music.
Yeah. They customize each one. So I wonder, like, is the idea that they're all going to be strung together? I know that we talked about this before. Is that like the idea?
Well, that's what I'm going to do.
That's true.
But they basically tell the mini story of what these guys are going through,
right?
In a sense, But it does. Supposedly, it tells its own story, but I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. I just kind of wonder sometimes. I mean, like I don't know how I feel about the openings, but it's more so because I'm kind of old school, so I like distinctive like show music that I hear the theme and I know like, oh, that's what it is, and which is one of those things that Walking Dead has. When you hear the theme music to Walking Dead, you know what it is, and you're like, oh, there it is, here we go.
With subtle changes, like the Walking Dead's opening sequences, at least the visuals have changed.
The visuals have changed, yeah, but the theme has consistently like stayed the same.
Well, the theme music has stayed the same, at least for this season, so that's one thing.
It has. The thing is, I guess I just don't know how I feel about it because it's so, I don't know how to describe it, but it's just so subtle. Like it's there, but it's definitely not something that is very.
It's short as hell, is what you're saying.
It's very short.
It's like you don't have enough time to go back and grab like popcorn or chips.
You don't even have a moment to process the fact that it's the opening because it starts, and just as soon as it starts, it's over, and here we are, and that's fine. But it's like, oh, okay. I don't know how well that'll work in terms of the test of time, but at the same time, the master plan might be just to merge everything with like Walking Dead, and next season will be the road to Alexandria. So who knows?
Oh my God. Can you imagine like them mixing the two songs somehow?
I don't even know.
Like it'll be an acoustic guitar that does the intro, the classic intro.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. I'm just imagining the road to Alexandria. It's like the road to Terminus.
Oh man. You're hopeful, huh?
Well, there was a whole, I don't know if it was a whole season, but there was plenty of episodes that just dealt with the road to Terminus.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, talk about like a waiting for Godot moment too, by the way. Not to sidetrack too much, but yeah, that whole build up and then to find out. I mean, the build up was more fun to watch than them getting there.
Although I will say that premiere when they were at Terminus and blew it all up in one episode, that was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, son, explosions, y'all. Explosions.
Carol blew it all up and took care of it in one episode. So
well, yeah, I guess like an episode and a half of Terminus, basically.
Essentially.
And who was it? Somebody from Star Trek. I think it was Tasha, the woman who played Tasha Yar. Was the old lady? I think it was.
Really?
Yeah. And I was kind of like, okay, I'll allow this. She's effing crazy.
You're like, this works.
Yeah, this works for me. I could dig it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's the little things,
Of course. It's the little things.
Yeah. So, We notice already that the basement is flooding as Alicia's trying to check out a couple of things.
Yeah.
So that's one sign.
Not good.
Yeah. Happens to everybody though.
Sure. Flooding happens to us all.
Yeah. Well, every time it rains at our place. Every goddamn time.
God.
Moldy. Ugh, it's just not good. Anyway.
No, it's not good. And honestly, like that makes me nervous more than anything else. I mean, it's already the idea of the walkers and everything, but like the fact that, you're gaining water real quick, that is not good.
Wait, you're talking about real life or are you talking about
I'm talking about in general, real
in
life,
general,
on
walkers.
the show. Just well, maybe not the walkers part, but the gaining water real quick, yeah.
But it's possible. No, it's not. I mean, I don't know. Oh,
You
damn.
like that aspect? Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
damn.
much.
God damn it. Yeah. So that's one thing. It's one of those things that if you didn't catch it early on, like while you were watching it, you would have missed it. But I did.
Mhm.
I noticed it the second time I watched. It was like, oh, so yeah, this isn't a new thing, Anyway.
Yeah,
This is not like a surprise. It was already filling up her, like
it
she's
was.
squishing in
Yeah,
her
exactly.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, it was already like starting.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, so yeah, I wanted to talk about this. When she's downstairs and she's taking stock of the food that she has and she's about to eat
Yes.
and all that stuff, and then she notices like just like thumping upstairs.
Yes.
Okay. So when she goes upstairs and she checks this out, she notices the walker that's outside, like impaled on the tree, right?
Right.
Like subtly through the window.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear these footsteps behind her and you vaguely see somebody, right?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that first of all, that was terrifying.
It for sure.
Because again, the way those shots, the shots leading into her checking out the impaled walker on the tree outside, those were the shots that I was talking about, where you see her in full frame.
Yes.
And like it looks like she can touch the walls, and the ceiling is really low. It's like almost touching her head, and it's like the walls are closing in on her, that kind of thing. So when she looks so when you see that one shot where her eyes are peering out between the blinds, and then you hear something, and then you see that you hear something like run across behind her and all that stuff. I was immediately transported to like the Twilight Zone. Okay. One specific one, I believe, and I think this was it, was I can't remember if it was the dummy or Caesar and Me, but it's literally a ventriloquist dummy that is like enchanted. Like it's not clear whether the ventriloquist is controlling the dummy, so he's crazy, or the ventriloquist is actually speaking. So it's just creepy all around, because the ventriloquist is having, in either one, is having full-on conversations with the dummy.
Interesting.
And of course the dummy has a creepy New York sounding voice.
Naturally.
That's that sort of thing. So yeah, and then in one scene, like in the Twilight Zone, in one of these, you can hear the dummy kind of walk across the floor quickly, because he has little tiny legs, right? So and then also, and you would remember this, I hope so, because it's a classic.
Okay.
But do you and probably from here on in, I'll be calling her this, but do you remember Talking Tina?
Talking Tina. Which one was that one?
Telly Savalas, and I can't remember who else is in it, but it's the doll that kind of talks back to the guy. I'm Talking Tina, and I'm going to kill you.
Oh my God, that sounds really familiar, but I can't clearly see it in my head.
Yes, it's Telly Savalas before he went full bald and with the Las Vegas kind of style glasses, and goes, here's look. Hey, wait, what did he say to girls? He said, "Here's looking at you, kid." No, that's not what it was.
Oh God. Who? What was that like? Who Loves You, Baby?
Who Loves You, Baby? Yes, you do remember. Oh, yes. So close.
No. It's sad that I remember that sketchiness. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably because your parents or your uncle or something like that, right? Because that's how I got it. Because my uncle loved Kojak.
Yeah. Ugh.
All about that life. With the lollipop.
Yeah. He was so gross.
And he's the protagonist, I think, too, right?
He was. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just sketchy and skeevy and gross. Like I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about it now and it makes me angry just thinking about
He's
it.
not that much better in the Twilight Zone episode. I mean, he's
No.
genuinely terrified, but he's like trying to kill this doll. He's trying to squeeze the head. He's trying to saw the head off and all that stuff. And the saw doesn't make a dent. In fact, it damages the saw. He tries to put it in a garbage can and wraps twine around it. And he can't get rid
Very
of it.
Twilight Zone.
So I call Charlie Talking Tina, even though she doesn't talk and she is alive. So it's just that walking across the floor, it's just like this terrifying person that doesn't talk.
And she is this reminder to Alicia. She's almost like a not a conscience, but I mean the whole thing brings her into like a crisis of conscience situation.
Oh yeah. But you know
So
what you said at first, that I had that hadn't occurred to me. That
mhm.
that maybe that Charlie kind of represents a more innocent version of her.
Yeah,
That's
that makes
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, I just didn't. I don't know why I didn't see it that way. I just was kind of like I was actually seeing it more like, oh, these two people are kind of the same almost, in a way.
There
They're like
is.
they've both kind of made mistakes and all that stuff.
Yeah, they have. I think obviously Alicia is far more cynical and hardened versus like Charlie. I mean, Charlie's still a child.
Yeah,
She's still a child and she's still like scared. She's still horrified. She's still fearful. And she reacts, based on those feelings. Like she doesn't have like a malicious intention. She's not coming with a malicious intention in mind. She's just acting from a sense of self-preservation, and
and,
what she knows of survival and loyalty to those that take care of her, really.
yeah, and is still young and has those weird, confusing emotions
Sure.
and knowing a lot less what to do with herself than most people, most adults,
Yeah.
let's say.
No, exactly. I mean, there's a confidence in Alicia's approach to everything, in terms of this episode. Although obviously she has her moments when it comes to like what is she going to do with Charlie? And even when Charlie's asking her to just, kind of kill her, she can't do it, like she can't bring herself to do it. And but otherwise, there's obviously more of a confidence in Alicia in terms of how she handles things. And even when Charlie thinks that they're not going to make it out of it, she's, confident, like, no, we're going to get out of this. We're going to survive this.
Right. There's that adult confidence, right? We have to
Right.
get out of this, right? Right. We
Mm-hmm.
usually do.
Yeah.
We're kids, they don't
Yeah.
really know. Like
Mm-mm.
they don't know everything's going to be okay. They just know what's in front of them.
They just know what's in front of them. That's it.
Yeah. It, I think fans of the 100 would really enjoy this episode as well because
Mm.
Alicia Debnam-Carey had played a character called on the show she's called Hedda, so she's basically the
Okay.
leader basically of
Okay.
this tribe of humans that was left behind on the planet while
Mm.
I could go through the synopsis. Basically, you have a bunch of humans who went out into space 100 years ago because they knew of nuclear fallout. Like basically all the
Mm.
nuclear bombs went off and
Mm-hmm.
etc. And so they went to space. So you had like 4 or 5 generations in space that have lived out there that didn't know that there was a tribe or two of people who managed to survive.
Mm.
And she
Mm-hmm.
plays one of the survivors, and they have this kind of like neutered version of English on the planet it's kind of like an abbreviated almost version.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So she plays a leader, and she's like skillful, and she's she's obviously queen for a reason, and she's skillful with a blade and stuff. And Alicia on the show has a blade, this kind of weird ass blade, and you got to see some of
Yeah.
those kind of like
I
you know
like her makeshift blade, I have to say.
yeah, it's very unique.
It's very
It's
unique.
kind of like you remember how you said you like characters, you like
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost as if they heard you,
Yeah.
like a little uniqueness in the character. So she has this unique blade,
No, exactly.
like Michonne's
Exactly.
katana.
I felt the same way. I did feel
I didn't
that
notice that until you pointed it out just now. Like, oh yeah, it's true.
no, she does like that. I found it very interesting that I felt that there was definitely further development of Alicia in this episode in a way that I appreciated in terms of developing the depths of her conflicted, feelings towards Charlie and how to move forward and I like the fact that she has this sort of like, distinctive weapon. It's this sort of broken off, sharpened metal shard, whatever it is, and that is her weapon
Oh
that she
yeah,
uses.
from
And
that turret gun, basically. That
yeah,
literal machine gun.
yeah.
The what is it called? The retainer or something like
Oh,
that.
I know nothing
I
about that.
forget what it was. I looked it up and then I mentioned it on the show and I totally forgot. But yeah, it's supposed to. It's like it's kind of like muffles or the vibrations and stuff like that. It's supposed to cool down the gun
Really?
faster. Yeah, it's on the outside of the actual muzzle of the
Mm-hmm.
muzzle, and yeah, that's what it's supposed to do. Like heat kind of disperses from it, and yeah,
Ah.
it's a whole thing. So it's broken off, and she can use it as a weapon. Yeah, so it's
Mm-hmm.
pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool. But yeah. It's there's a lot to love about that. I mean, and there are a lot of Alicia Debnam-Carey fans from the 100 still, and her character I
Mm-hmm.
think got like killed off like 2 seasons ago,
Oh,
and
wow.
they still hold a candle for her character. That's how big an effect her performance was on fans, I think.
Really?
And
That's very interesting.
yeah, lots of young people too. So and they just hang on. They love the show. They love Fear the Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them hung on. Some of them had the criticisms, obviously, because of things. We've been there. We talked
Naturally.
about
Well,
that.
there's always going to be that.
Yeah, but I mean, the Debnam-Carey fans, they are they don't. I have not heard a single criticism, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
The
Oh,
only
yeah.
thing the only thing I've heard is if you kill Alicia, we will riot. Long
No,
live Hedda.
no, I'm sure. I'm sure.
So yeah. So there's that. The sword. Uh, the doll walking across the thing. Yeah. And again, she doesn't talk.
No, she
Um,
doesn't say anything for a long time.
right. But that moment, right, when Charlie goes behind the door, she tries to. Oh, so Alicia tries to open the closet. It
Yes.
was yeah, and Charlie scampers out from her hiding place. She manages to get away. Goes into the door. And that scene where she's hanging over the door, and you have this scene of her in front of it, that like,
Oh,
why
yeah.
are you here? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that was haunting.
Well, exactly. And I feel like that's exactly how she felt. Like she felt like, here's this girl haunting me, and tormenting me just by her presence.
Yeah, but context though matters because Alicia just gotten from tremendous failure, confronting all those feelings about how am I supposed to live up to my mom's ideals, to what she thinks of me, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
failed at saving this guy. Morgan, I just want to be alone. Like, I can't do anything right. I don't even know what I'm doing, that sort of thing. And then Charlie arrives. Like, why is Charlie here of all people? It's like the
Of
same
all
reaction as
people.
Luciana.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you want
Mm-hmm.
from me?
Yeah.
So that's
It's
like,
true.
it's like the last person you want to see, right? In this
Mm-hmm.
house of horror.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is. It's true.
Yeah. It's like you
And
said, confrontation, right?
yeah, it makes her have to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the elements on the outside, the violent elements keeping her inside the house. Oh, and yeah, no. We'll get to that because we're not there yet. But yeah, the wind and the shutters banging and everything, and the wind's picking up eventually, and then you have the walkers outside. Eventually, they pick up, and then you have Charlie, and the house itself had those walkers, and then all the confrontational pictures of the family and remnants of them. Like everything there, is like a reminder of what she lost, uh,
Yeah.
what she can't escape from, and then also that thing. And another one of those things is Charlie. Like you thought it was enough for her not to be there, but you knew that she was out there in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and now she's in the same house as you, and you just gotta face this thing, man. If you really want to hope to be the Madison, you gotta put this to bed because
Yeah.
this is your test. This is to see if you can move on, if you can really
Yeah.
live up to it. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm just going on and on, but yeah.
No, but it's true. It was it. This is a test, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So Oh yes. So yeah, as soon as that scene happens where she's trying to say, "Why are you here?" and then
Yes.
she immediately tries to ghost. She takes all the
Yeah, she
food.
tries to take off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just paint that scene, Carol. Paint it for me.
I mean, it is like she saw a ghost. I mean, she grabs her belongings, you know, what is it, removes the wooden beam that she already had nailed in front of the door, runs
Right.
out. She tries to basically get into the car because she grabbed the car keys inside. So she's trying to get into this car, and it's like the door is like jammed, it seems like she can't quite open it. And then when she finally does, I don't know if it's partially because of the wind or what have you, like she gets pushed back so that she ends up landing on her back. And you get the impression that she basically bumped back of her head or something and knocked herself out for, however long it was,
That rung her
really.
bell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happened? And she wakes up and
She wakes up
isn't eaten
and
by
comes to.
walkers. That's good.
No, thank God. No. She comes to and she's back inside the house. And she pretty much puts two and two together and realizes that Charlie brought her back in.
Yeah, let's talk about that
Which
for a
is,
minute. Though.
wait, I was gonna say logistically, I was like,
Like
I don't
it's a physics lesson,
know.
isn't it?
It is. I'm like, how old is Alicia? And we've seen her statue compared to 11-year-old Charlie.
Okay,
And it's hurricane conditions
She is
with
getting
flying
really tall
walkers.
really fast, though. By the
She's a
way.
growing girl for sure, but it is a hurricane. You do have somebody who's knocked out, which basically means that their body is far more heavy than it typically would be, and there are
She's
like
literally
walkers.
like at least 120 pounds or 130 pounds soaking wet. She's soaking wet.
Right,
Like it's like the
right,
expression, but literal.
right. So that is a bit of a stretch, but we're gonna suspend our
Of
we're
course,
gonna.
it just had to be spoken
No,
about.
it had to
Though.
be said. It
Yeah,
has to be said.
it's
Like
the
I'm
only
glad that
hole
you
you
brought
can
it
think
up.
of right now at the moment.
I'm glad that you brought it up. Yeah,
Because you were
because
thinking it and you're like, should
I
I?
was. I was like,
I wasn't. I didn't even put in my notes, but like at the same time, like it was bothering me because like you
mhm.
want to say only positive things about this fucking amazing episode, and I will swear
Yeah.
for this one. But yeah,
Yeah. No, no, I agree. It's like I didn't have it written down in my notes, but when I think back and I walk through the scene, I'm sort of like, I don't know necessarily.
it's like when you hear yourself talk. Oh yeah, Charlie just brought her in. Wait, Charlie brought her
Yeah, you're just like, wait, I don't know how much sense that makes,
in.
but all right, we'll go with
All
it.
right, yeah. So she was brought into the house, coat taken off. There's like food next to her that she opened the cans of whatever
Yeah.
food that was open, or not
hmm
open, but whatever. And yeah. So Alicia's
But then
right.
she questions Charlie, like,
Yeah, she's like,
why did you bring me back? And she kind of then goes through her monologue while Charlie's on the other side of the door in a very comfortable looking bedroom, by the way.
yeah,
And she's just kind of like there, silent. She doesn't say anything. And, Alicia is just basically unloading on her, like all her feelings and fact that, her mother's gone and her brother's gone. And she kind of like really starts leveling into her, why she's such a, piece of crap, essentially, is, the gist of it.
piece of
Um,
garbage. By the end of it, I think
yeah,
she mentioned that in
yeah.
this one. Yeah,
She
right.
did call her a garbage person or something.
Right. Let's see. Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah, things are moving fast. Like this episode, the pacing on this episode is so good. And the reason why I
Yeah.
bring up the Twilight Zone is because it's Twilight Zone is a good comparison to compare an old show versus a new show, and what you can tell in a short amount of time versus what new shows seem to try to cram in but can't
Uh-huh.
seem to, right? And
hmm
yet the pacing on the Twilight Zone was very slow.
Mm.
You could a lot is told without with very little, but
Okay.
just by visuals, by the way somebody looks. It's kind of like
hmm
your observation of I think it was Xander Berkeley in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our argument about Xander Berkeley versus Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Negan,
Yes.
like
hmm
where Negan had to kind of be a certain way, had to say things a certain way in order to move the story along. Xander could just look a certain way, or he could just make a snide remark and you get like a
Right.
whole bunch. But yeah,
Right.
the pacing is so. But we can race through this thing because a lot of this is mood. It's setting the mood. I feel like we're almost doing it in Injustice, but yeah, there's like this mood of madness, of anxiety. You're
Hmm.
sitting there and I mean, you don't have a beard, but I do. I'm like flip the bottom part of the hair on the bottom part of my lip, and I put it in my mouth like this, and I'm doing that the whole entire time because it's just so tense.
It is very tense.
Yeah.
And what did you think when you noticed that Charlie had a weapon? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, so that's interesting. It brings me back to something that you said last week. I immediately thought of it. I was like, what if Charlie is also mourning? That's what
Hmm.
I was thinking. I was like, you killed my friend. You killed
Yeah.
you killed Ennis. And so I'm thinking to
Hmm.
myself, and I love that you said that because it really made the question mark of her having that gun and what she was going to do with it,
Right.
like really stand, and it worked so well because of that. And
Yeah.
basically because of you, because
Thanks.
yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It's kind of like, oh wow, this really brought into question, like, okay, this can go either way.
Yeah.
And kids with guns, I mean,
Oh
don't
God.
usually end well, Carl.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Kids in the
No,
apocalypse with any weapon, by the way.
yeah, kids in the apocalypse in general just aren't really like winning. They're not
I
winning.
mean, it depends on what your
They're not.
classification of winning, right?
I mean, they all end up dead. So
Oh, yeah.
mostly,
I guess
mostly,
ultimately losing.
ultimately
But
losing.
yeah, it's like
No,
I'll believe it when I see it, like that they grow up to be of a certain age.
uh, yeah, it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark for your child in the apocalypse.
We're pretty dark.
Unless you're Judith.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
Uh,
Fingers crossed.
it's like
No.
the I didn't die today counter, basically. So,
Oh my God. So it was a good day.
yeah, Judith, it's a good day. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe it's season 10. Maybe it's season 9. It'll happen.
Ah,
Don't worry. You got
so
Judith
sad.
2.0. It's fine.
Oh, so sad.
We'll call her Gracie, middle name Judith Grimes.
Sad.
You're welcome, people.
Sad as hell.
So
No,
yeah,
but I wasn't sure what she was going to do with that gun.
yeah,
I was
not at
not
all,
sure.
right?
No, I was not sure. I wasn't sure if I definitely did not think at that point that she was suicidal. I did not.
I see. That's
I
the
knew she
thing.
was upset. And I can tell, obviously, that she was like tormented by the things that Alicia was telling her, because you can see her on the other side of the door breaking down.
Right.
But I did not think that she was, I didn't think at the time that she was necessarily suicidal. Obviously, like as the episode unfolds, you kind of see more and more of her, when she tries to almost like walk into a walker to like let herself be killed. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what
Like,
screwed the pooch for me, by the way,
mm,
is the
what, her walking
preview.
to the walker?
Yeah, it was the preview. The preview showed that, and I was like, oh man, does she have a death wish? And so, but that's actually interestingly good. It actually kind of works because I knew that. I felt that from the teaser. And so when she brought out the gun, I was kind of like, wait, this can go really literally either way. So I that's an example of just smart illusion. Just like, here's a teaser of what she might do, what she's doing, which she does. We don't know why. And
Right.
then she brings out the gun and you're like, wait, but yeah, so yeah, Nick killed Ennis, and so maybe this is her like also in mourning and could take it out on Alicia because Alicia wants to kill her probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was smart. Smart guys. So smart, Mr. Satrazemis. I don't know about the dragging the girl twice her age in, but
Yeah.
fine.
That's the only slight hiccup.
But that's fine.
Slight.
I'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, and I literally wrote that to kill Alicia or protect herself. What? Um, yeah, and that last thing, being this garbage person, and oh no, I don't want to kill it. And the last thing she said was kind of interesting. It's like she's literally, first of all, she's saying the truth out loud, Althea style. First of all,
Yes.
which I don't know if she would say normally. Obviously, she's kind of losing her mind. She's going a little crazy. So I'll allow it, but it's that last thing she does, and that's it. So she's going back and forth between the truth and being mad at her also for killing Nick, but also like saying, I need to live up to my mother's ideals, so I'm trying not to kill you, she says, kind of. And then there's the last thing where she meets kind of in the middle, and she goes, you know what? I'm not going to kill you.
Right.
I want you to live a very long life knowing living with what you did, you garbage person, basically.
Yeah.
Like a ripe old age. You know, that's where I want you at. And so it's like this way of her compromise. Like, you know what? It'll make me feel better on this end for you to be suffering, but also on that end that I didn't kill you. So
right.
So in the middle, something meets. Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think the next frame. Oh, Alicia discovers that Charlie has covered the dead while Alicia was out.
Yeah, she kind of questioned her on that, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, she immediately ran inside.
But this is also the aspect of where they differ, where Alicia is already kind of like looking at these as like, okay, more walkers that we have to, you know, do away with. Whereas like Charlie understands like, look, these were people at one point and they deserve some semblance of like respect rather than just kind of tossing them out.
Right. And we're in their house too, to boot.
Yeah.
But I love that shot though when Alicia discovers, you know, she lifts up the tarp and it's the girl of the family, the young girl, and then it zooms into the face of the dead girl, and it immediately goes from that shot straight to the picture of her that Charlie's holding, and Alicia coming in and questioning her about it. But I just love that again. They did it again where. The first shot was the family laid out, and then it showed them on the mantle, and then now this is the dead girl, literally, and then shows the dead girl in her hands. And so it's manipulating you, man. It's getting you to feel for these poor souls.
Yeah.
That once were.
It worked on me.
Yeah, did it? Okay, good. No, because I was wondering, like, I get what they were trying to do, and it's so unique. Like, they try to do it every now and again on The Walking Dead, I think. But the way it comes out is more of like a nod to George Romero, like, and the way I mean is that some of these characters are so distinctly wardrobed, like notably the librarian that I mentioned at the top of the show with the Father Gabriel's parishioners. Like he recognizes her because she's dressed so like distinctly with the I think she still had the reading glasses around her neck or something, and like the pink, it was like a pink sweater or something.
Yeah.
Like a pink cardigan, sorry. But it's more of like a kind of caricature-y kind of version of a person, whereas like this is more of like, oh, these were people. They're dressed in muted tones. You know, they're not instantly recognizable until you look at how they lived, you know, the photos of them when they were alive. So this is just, it's so ambitious.
Yeah. And Charlie's collecting the set photos.
Yeah. And did you know what she was trying to do immediately when you saw her do that?
I thought that she was just basically reminiscing of her own family. That was my initial thought.
I just thought she was just going as crazy as Alicia, just like you know, in a weird way, like these were people once.
Yeah.
Let me take care of these. Like I didn't know what she was trying to do, to be honest. So I didn't know what to make of it, and then it becomes clear, and by the way, it only becomes a little bit clearer why she's doing it much later on in the show, and it's not immediately spelled out, but we'll put that together later on. So immediately Alicia's trying to question Charlie on why the hell she's doing this.
Right.
Yeah, and what does she say? Says, well, what does she say? Do you know?
I'm trying to remember what it was that she said. I know that
she said, Alicia says flat out, she put the bodies out there the way she did for a reason.
I'm trying to remember what was it that she said?
Well, she didn't really say the reason, but I think it's implied that like she doesn't, you know, photos outside, bodies outside.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, she doesn't want reminders of that.
Right. I don't want to have to feel.
No.
Yeah, and then they try to nail the shutters down together. She's like, okay, if you know what, baby steps, team building.
Right. Yep. Pretty much.
You
So we're
know,
gonna start with this.
I want you to be alive so you can hate yourself for the rest of the rest of your life. So I might as well protect you.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yes. So once they do that, they notice that walkers are starting to gather because they're making too much noise.
Mm-hmm.
And Alicia's like, I'm getting the fire going. I can warm up your coat. I can dry up your coat. And Charlie doesn't give it to her, and she's still not talking.
She demands that coat.
Yeah, she's like, "What is your goddamn problem, you dumb little kid?"
Pretty much. I mean, she looks terrified of Alicia.
Oh yeah, it's like, "Give me the coat," and then she's like shocked. She's shocked backwards.
Yeah.
And she does, and she realizes she's packing heat. Who loves you, baby?
God. No more Telly Savalas. I can't.
I used to do the voice, and now it's like I don't remember what it is anymore. Loves you, baby.
Yeah, he's just.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are plenty of clips.
Charlie Savalas. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, and that scene is really tense because it looks like they were starting to kind of get along in a way, and then all of a sudden she finds the gun and she goes, "Oh, so what do you think you were gonna do with this, mother?"
She also wanted to know if it was the same gun that killed her brother.
That's insane, right? And you're sitting there, you're looking at this gun, you're like, "Oh my God, is it the same gun?"
Is it exactly like I'm like, is it?
Would you be able to handle that? By the way, like I was just thinking to myself, Charlie's a goner.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that makes it hard. I mean, you really have to kind of put yourself in the predicament of these people and kind of try to understand like how they must be feeling, because if it were me, that would be tough.
Yeah, I mean totally. I just said hi to a friend of ours, a friend of the show on the Facebook.
On the Facebook.
Hey, special shout out.
Oh yeah.
First my cousin, and now my pally.
Nice.
Yeah, I should share. I guess I should share the link, right, to the show.
I don't know.
See,
you're the expert at all of this.
I am the expert.
You are the expert at all of this.
All right, let me find the Facebook.
Because I'm color commentary.
No wait, I'm color commentary. Wait, actually, this season I am the straight man.
This season, so far, you have been more color commentary. Then we're gonna get to Walking Dead, and my color. I guarantee you, I will be bringing more color commentary.
I honestly, I cannot wait to be color commentary when the Walking Dead comes on, because that's where I live. I live in color commentary.
Don't even get me started. I can't wait. Cannot.
Karma commentary. I'm just trying to share the link out. I want to see if this actually works. Mm-hmm. Look, there's like a little live.
I know.
A live icon next to videos. Let's see what's going on here.
I see that.
I don't think I've ever seen. I don't know. Have I seen a lot? I think I've seen a couple live videos. I'm gonna share this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Share. Sunny and share. Let's see here. As me. Posting as David Cameo. Oh, this is infuriating. Oh, okay. I know what I'm doing now. Relax, everybody. Relax. Relax, Carol.
Hey, I'm chilling. I told you, I have my cup of tea. I'm good.
Yeah, it's a heavy tea.
Oh no, I told you, like it's the tea and coffee keeps me more awake than what am I saying? The caffeine in tea keeps me more alert than the caffeine in coffee or soda.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it depends on the time of day, because sometimes I'm like more alert on like soda, and then sometimes I'm more alert on coffee. I don't know. It
depends.
Depends on the chemicals that are in my system.
I hear you.
Okay, and post. Little bars on it. All right, anyway, so back to my notes. Let me put my reading glasses on. All right, so we're at the gun to the head moment. And yes, at the end of all of that little mad scene where she's fighting the urge to shoot Charlie in the head, Alicia says, go. She like waves the gun, says go.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. She kind of treats her like a misbehaving child, you know, and she literally scampers away like she's going to her room.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you brought it up, the comfortable room part, right? And so it got me thinking. I'm like, it's that little part, like that tells you she's still a kid.
She is still a kid.
Going to her room.
You can't forget that.
Yeah, but it's very easy. And if it wasn't for these little bits, like her being in this comfortable room, just sitting in the bed, staying quiet this whole time, by the way.
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing. Like in this weird way where the show can pull it back. Like normally, I think a normal grown adult would not go to the room. They would leave the house.
No, exactly. Like Alicia did.
Exactly. Which she tried to do unsuccessfully. Which, I mean, Alicia was welcome to try again, but something held her back. And again, I think it's these little reminders that are working, chipping away at her, you know? So it is very interesting, huh?
It is interesting, but Charlie's still a kid, which is why she scampers away to her room.
I love this show. Yeah, and she's just sitting there sulking, you know, I mean, you know, for lack of a better word, right? So there's that. Let's see here. By the way, I love this live bit because these are all the pauses that we have that I edit out. And so we're like kind of tipping our hand right now.
Yeah, just sort of like,
this is what goes on.
This is what goes on. This is what it is. Accept it.
Yeah. What I'm saying right now is going to be edited. Actually, so you're welcome. I don't know. Yeah. Behind the scenes. Yeah. So sexy.
Behind the scenes. Sure. Behind the scenes is what it is.
Oh, man. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So right after that is this kind of really impactful. It's like surprisingly impactful, more impactful than you think. And that's when Alicia's finally trying to get the fire going. You know, just she notices that obviously there's like soot all over the fireplace.
Yeah.
These people died somehow. So she's just trying to see if there's any debris in the chimney. And she notices the dead bird that plops out of it.
Was that what it was? I was staring hard at the screen trying to figure out.
Are you watching on your computer or?
No, I was watching it on my phone, and I was like,
no, that was
I have a
mistake.
big phone.
Oh, okay.
No, I have a big phone though. It's huge.
Still, I can see how you wouldn't be able to see that though. Yeah.
I paused and studied that scene, and I was like, "Is that a cat?
Oh God.
Is that like?" No, I was trying to figure it out. I was really trying to figure out what exactly it was. So it was a bird.
Yeah. It was like a big ass bird. It looks like it was a type of bird. Nobody knows because it was that desiccated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and that says a lot. That says a whole lot, by the way. So there's a lot going on here. First of all, this is the bird that killed that family. That family that she's trying not to feel things for, right? Right. So
yeah.
The second thing is that there's the Amina story, Madison story about the bird that Nick and
good point. Good point.
Now this I definitely plucked from Ian Goldberg, who was on the show. Oh no, Andrew Chambliss, who was on Talking Dead. So I definitely plucked that. So there's a bunch of things going on here. Yeah, there's that, and so it's between the House of Horrors, the scary house, and the outside elements, the walkers, Charlie. The sympathy she's trying to avoid having for the people that died in this house that we're having sympathy for because we see we see the cause of their smoke inhalation, which eventually caused them to die. So there's all these forces working against her. The Amina story, and And what she says there is just so much. It's like she's finally caving into feeling something, and she goes, "I'm sorry.
I know. I did
I'm
think
trying."
that's why I was trying to figure out so hard what was in what animal. I pretty much understood it was some sort of animal that was the cause of everything, and that's what she was staring at. I just couldn't tell what it was. But yeah, that moment where she's just sort of looking, just sadly into the fireplace and saying, "I'm sorry." I, it's hard.
It's
She's
really
trying
rough.
to keep it together.
Yeah,
She's trying.
she's trying to like not kill Charlie. I
Yeah.
guess too. I mean, not to
Yeah.
sound harsh, but I mean, I really do think she's trying to keep to her mom's principles. It's stuck with
Yes.
her, you know.
Hmm.
It's like she doesn't know if she's living up to what I think her image of what she thinks she should be with all the philosophy that's rubbed off on her. I think there's an impression she tries to really, you know how it is with, you always think you're never going to live up to the kind of person that you see in your parents, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We all get that. That's like the, what is it? It's the drama of the gifted child, basically.
Hmm.
It's like it's you when you fight to try to be as close to your parents in your head as possible, and then when you fall short, you either get depressed or grandiose. You go over the top, that sort of thing. You handle it in two different ways. And
Hmm.
so she's going through all of that now. It's like even when she first encounters Charlie, she goes, "Why are you here?" She
Yeah.
basically, it's like you said, she was you said something to the effect of she was frightened and that's why she left. But part of that was like, if you noticed her talking to Charlie at the other end of the door, she goes from being like sounding like a frightened girl to being like "F you."
Yeah.
It's this weird like mix of being this kid, being a frightened child, and then being this grown adult, and it's so powerful. So when you see her go, I'm sorry, I'm trying,"
Hmm.
it's just it's coalescing. It's she can't escape it anymore. The house is not letting her.
No, no, the house isn't letting her. Like she's stuck in this house having to face her demons, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So I just did that right in the mic. It's going on the cutting room floor, man.
Live. Hey.
Uh, so I'm getting to this one part that's really interesting,
Okay.
and so yes, okay. So right at that moment,
Hmm.
she's cleared the top. She's trying to start the fire, and she can't. And why can't she start the fire, Carol? The wind starts blowing from somewhere,
Hmm.
and what do you
Hmm.
realize? I'm trying to let you talk because I shouldn't.
No, I'm trying to remember,
Okay,
actually.
so the
I'm
wind
trying to
blows,
remember that scene.
and then you hear like kind of a like a banging, and you hear the
Yes.
walker, and what is happening now?
This isn't the point where when the window
No, no,
breaks, is
that's
it?
near the end. Yeah,
That's
sort
near
of.
the end. Yeah.
This is the part where Charlie, having been told to go
Uh-huh.
but at the point of the
Oh, when
gun,
she steps outside on the balcony.
that's right. And
Yes.
what does she do?
So
What does she do? She sees the walker from the beginning, and
yeah, which is the walker that they keep kind of looking at throughout the episode.
right,
It's
and you're
this
getting a
walker
closer
that
look too, much
you're getting a
closer.
closer look. Yeah. Like essentially this is like a walker that is stuck, that's been impaled on a branch of a tree. It's kind of just sort of languishing on this tree branch. That's the only thing that's holding it up there. And it looks like the house basically has the balconies from the particular bedroom where Charlie is. And she kind of proceeds to kind of very slowly observe the walker, like with this sort of morbid curiosity. But basically, she's kind of like just almost sort of like just walking towards certain death, like, and basically Alicia comes in just in time to basically pull her away from just walking into this walker that would just obviously just kill her.
Who had already
Um,
grabbed her, by the way, if you noticed.
yes, yes, it did already grab her, yeah.
So
And
I,
so that's where you kind of start to realize, and Alicia even brings it up when she's kind of sitting her down and she says, the gun was never intended for me. It was always for you. I mean,
yeah,
basically like, Charlie's kind of, she is remorseful over everything that's happened. I mean, Alicia isn't telling Charlie anything that she already doesn't feel horrible about.
Right.
She already feels like a horrible person for having been responsible for the demise of the stadium, for being responsible for Nick's death. She already feels horrible over these things. Like she
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily need Alicia to point it out, to the point that now she's sort of like, well, what do I have to live for? What's the point that she's, looking for her way out, whether it be that she like shoots herself, whether it be that she is like killed by a walker, like, but she's just sort of hopeless.
yeah, and you start to recognize that also. And I didn't really realize this at the time. Not really, but in a way, a kid her age could see herself as being responsible for people on both sides dying. Mel, Ennis.
Hmm.
Like if it hadn't been for Nick's love for her,
Right.
Nick would not have killed Ennis. If it hadn't been for Mel fighting for Charlie
Hmm.
to go with him, to be with him, Mel wouldn't have died. If
Right.
if Nick didn't care so much, he wouldn't be dead because she killed him. But yeah, I mean the stadium falling, Madison dying. She knows all this, and you could see her, and I didn't really realize that she could have seen herself as being responsible for more than just Nick's death, like
Yeah.
and the stadium practically,
Hmm.
but for everything technically. She's literally kind of like, um, what's her name from Troy? This is like the Trojan story,
Oh God.
like Achilles and or Achilles rather. Depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
Uh,
there you go.
and Hector and all that stuff. Like she's literally the Lady of Troy, that sort of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they basically it was more than just the stadium. I mean, they literally were kind of fighting over Charlie in a way, in some ways.
Hmm.
So yeah, yeah. And so
Gosh.
why wouldn't she just be like, I gotta, it's time to check out?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she is definitely not doing very well.
Right,
And I think at that point is where Alicia kind of sits her down and, you know, kind of gives her a talking to, essentially.
right, right. Alicia does it in her own way. She
Hmm.
says, uh, I'm not letting you get away with leaving this world, basically.
Right. Like, I'm not letting you take the easy way out.
Right. There are no, she says something to the effect of there are no good reasons to move on. But,
No.
I'm just not going to let you get away with that.
Right. Yeah,
and,
pretty
and,
much.
and the exact words that Charlie says to Alicia are, why did you save me?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to focus on that because these words have appeared several times this season.
Yeah.
Naomi,
Hmm.
Strand has said it several times to Madison.
Yeah.
Why did you save me? In fact, who else said that?
Didn't Alicia herself say it?
I don't remember. But I will say it's not from Fear the Walking Dead. Somebody else said that to somebody who is on Fear the Walking Dead. Now,
Morgan?
Rick to Morgan.
Ah, good point.
Why did you save me?
Hmm.
You could have lived with your son and not brought me into your life, but why did you save me? It's interesting, huh? How that happens, how that
Yeah.
works.
Very interesting.
This show is all about sorry. This show is all about that theme. Why did
Yeah.
you save me?
No,
It-
it's
it-
true.
it's interesting to rake over every now and again. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that because, and I really literally said Victor Strand to Madison, and literally the answer is no one's gone till they're gone.
Yeah.
It over and over again. No one's gone till they're gone. And so basically, it's saying no matter what you did, no matter what you do, you're still here, and that's
Hmm.
what matters. And I'll get to more of that later on, but because there's a bigger picture kind of ticket going on here, but yeah, And she said, and Alicia basically says, it's not because I forgive you, because that'd just be an effing lie.
Right. It would be a lie.
Yeah, nothing. It's not because she's anything special. And it's basically you have to live with what you've done. Either way, just like everybody else. So what's the point, you know? I might as well save you.
Yeah.
You know, the sum total of whatever you do in this world ends up leading you to be a walker. Anyway, so you could do good, you could do bad, but as long as you're here, you're here.
Yeah.
You know? As long as you're a human, you're not a walker. So. And so, yeah. And then, so, I mean, we could probably skip over some of what they were saying about Alicia's background, being in California, the beach and all that stuff. The beach is only important in as much as you know, mentioning California, mentioning that she lived kind of, kind of like blowing her off, saying, you know, did you live near a beach and all that stuff, and you know, whatever, not that important. Oh yeah, it isn't. And then they go to sleep, and then Charlie wakes up before Alicia, and she starts to scrambling to get all the photos.
Yes.
And I think she's kind of worried that they'll get lost in the, I don't know, whatever, the storm or whatever. And again, she's approached about it. She says, "This is silly. Everybody's dead, Charlie." And Alicia just tries to stop her. It's like, "What are you doing?" And the sum total of what Charlie says is that, you know, these were people. Maybe people are looking for her, looking for them. And the equivalent of no one's gone till they're gone.
Yep.
You know, so we got to act like they are going to be here, or they are here. And I think hearing that, Alicia kind of goes, just do whatever you want. It won't make you feel better, but whatever. She backs off.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And then
she tells her that's not going to change anything, but okay.
Yeah. When Charlie comes downstairs, though, too, you know, Alicia tries to give it another crack, but in a different way. Like, basically answering, why do you care? And she goes, I want you to know that when, you know, sometimes, like, when you're gone, you're gone. You know, sometimes that's it. You know, you're dead. It's over.
Yeah.
And then Charlie asks her the very important question of, like, why do you even care? What does it matter to you? You don't care. You shouldn't care. What does it matter what I do? I'm garbage. You know? And then just as that happens, that's when shit go cray.
Yeah.
The window breaks, and this is when things start to really escalate.
Yes.
And they scramble to the basement, and then what was once like 2 inches of water is now like the height of Dave. No, it's like 4 feet tall or something, like 4 feet, like up to their chest.
Yeah.
And it's some serious water. And once they get in the basement, the door basically crashes in behind them because...
Yes.
I don't know, walkers, whatever it is. Just the wind picks up.
Yeah.
So they can't get in. They realize quickly that, oh, I can get out here. Oh, wait, no, I can't. I can get out here. Oh, no, I can't. It's like the cellar door, the frosted, cubed, crappy windows and stuff like that. So they realize, oh, shit, we gonna die. But not only that, you'd think they'd punch through the ceiling above them, but like they realize, oh, there are walkers up there. That's not safe.
Right. I mean, I got to tell you, that is a pretty scary circumstance, especially because, I mean, if you want to talk about, for me, like the scariest potential final destination sort of possibilities, that would be it. Suffocation.
Like asphyxiation by drowning? Or, sorry, drowning. Asphyxiation by drowning. It's like a redundant.
Yeah. That is scary as hell for me. I mean, probably primarily because I can't swim. But I think...
you can't swim?
I know. I'm Caribbean and I can't swim. Isn't that sad?
That is the saddest thing in America.
It is very sad. I'm actually going to take swimming lessons with the kids.
Oh my God, please do.
Yeah, no, because it concerns me.
You know, I shouldn't be too quick to judge. Only because, I mean, I grew up... like the first 11 years of my life in New Jersey, and we were all about the swim life.
Were you really?
Yeah. Till I was 11, and then, or 10 maybe. And then, and then I moved to New York. but I can easily see how somebody who living in New York wouldn't swim, wouldn't
Yeah.
have the means to, because I stopped swimming technically until high school again, and then our high school happened to have a pool,
You're
and we
like,
learned life
ah,
saving classes too, by the way. So that was pretty cool,
that's awesome.
like
Yeah.
survival skills.
So you can see why the circumstances that Alicia and Charlie were in would make me very nervous.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like somebody did mention, I don't know who it was, but they mentioned there's like a Goonies element to it in a way, like the way that they were in the
Interesting.
water, and it
Mm-hmm.
was just this weird. So at the end of the Goonies, they're in like this lagoon and stuff like that, and it just there's that overall feel like, you know, I don't know,
I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
just like
You're
get
right.
it.
It does have a feel.
Yeah, it's just like when the door initially closed on Alicia and she kind of fell on Charlie, and they kind of got up
Mm-hmm.
from being underwater, and they were
Yeah.
coughing. It just reminded me of how they were coughing when they, which was actually real. It wasn't scripted. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, let me take it back a notch because this is kind of funny.
Uh-huh.
In the Goonies, it basically revolves around the hidden treasure of One-Eyed Willie, right? And these kids
Mm-hmm.
are trying to find it in Astoria, like in the in the northwestern part of the United States, which is weird. Astoria,
Mm-hmm.
Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like so somehow One-Eyed Willie from the Spanish Armada made his way to the northwest region of the United States. Okay, fine.
Uh-huh.
So they eventually, spoiler alert, if nobody's watched the Goonies in what 30 years or 30 25 years or whatever it is, 30 years,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they find it. And so the way they find it is the kids are shot down these water slides, right?
Mm.
Like they're water slides to us, but in the movies they're like these caves with water, and they just kind of spill them out into this lagoon where the ship is hiding in this cave.
Uh-huh.
It's a lagoon inside a cave, this huge ass cave.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was Dick Donner wanted to, and I think Steven Spielberg. So I don't know. Dick Donner had more of a hold on the production. So he wanted to surprise the kids. And so what it was the scene where they revealed the pirate ship. They had
Uh-huh.
them facing the wrong way,
Mm-hmm.
and when they turned around for the first time, they literally, first of all, when they fell in, they didn't know what to expect. So they kind of were falling from like really like 40 feet high, 50 feet high, from these like water slides with these exits, right? And so when they turn around, also,
Mm-hmm.
this is like literally, first of all, they're getting in the pool, they're getting out of this lagoon, and their heads are coming above water for the first time, so they are already shocked by that. But then they drop this curtain, and
Uh-huh.
obviously behind the scenes, and then they turn around and they're seeing the pirate ship for the first time, and it's like unscripted, it's their real reaction, that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
I just that all that kind of came back to me when I saw Alicia just falling on on Charlie practically, and they were getting up from the water, and they're like literally coughing because there's water in their lungs.
Wow.
And I think that was also kind of like method. So it was that one moment where like, oh, this could get dangerous.
Yeah.
But then you actually see the behind the scenes. It's like a tank with these kind of set walls around it, within it, and it's really cool. But yeah, I don't know.
That's
Sorry,
pretty cool.
and it just, somebody had mentioned that reference from the crew or whatever, and so
Mm-hmm.
it came to me, and then I had to kind of say why that is kind of like the Goonies, the coughing when they get out from the water slides. It's just whatever.
I can see that though. I
Yeah,
see what you're saying.
you should see the Goonies. It'll bring out the kid in you,
I
the
know.
'80s kid.
I know. It'll be like a nice throwback. That and Stranger Things
Of
would be a
course, I'm
couple,
trying to delay the inevitable. Like
which is
this really tough scene.
yeah, I know
Yeah.
that it was heart-wrenching, man. Like I felt it. I mean, credit to both women because their acting was very spot on.
Yeah.
Very, very spot on and very emotional, and you felt it. I mean, like when Charlie was talking about, I don't want to die, like I mean, that was real. I mean, it's like you're in this basement, you've got water coming, rising. It's already, up to your chest. you've got walkers, above you. You can't, get out of this. I mean, it's just, she's basically, just resigning herself to like, I'm going to die here. Like, this is, we're not going to make it out of here. So, you know what? Do it. Kill me right now.
Yeah, because I don't want to turn.
Because I don't want to go through that. And also, like, you know, I don't want to die. Like she said, I'm afraid of dying, So like you just do it and put me out of my misery rather than go through, you know, w- the inevitable or what's coming or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
Alicia tries to kind of kind of telling her to just shut up and not say these things, but she gets to a certain point that she's like, okay, fine, and she can't.
Well,
She goes through her head. You see sort of like a montage of like her thinking back to her mother and her brother and just all these different moments and the last days and the last moments of her brother's life and the last moments at the stadium, but she can't do it.
which, by the way, they weren't originally intending to put in the episode these little memory flashes, like literal memory flashes.
No,
No.
really.
What Andrew Chambliss says in Talking Dead, he basically says that because they used the imagery that they used for Charlie's kind of imagining the beach thing, they kind of like wrestled and they said, wait, if we're going to do this for Charlie, even just a limited way, why don't we do the same thing for Alicia?
Mm-hmm.
Let's have her kind of try her best to conjure up memories that would get her to hate Charlie. And what
Mm-hmm.
ends up happening is that she flashes too much. So the first one she has obviously is of Nick doubling over, shot in the chest, blood's coming from his mouth. He can barely
Yeah.
talk. So there's that
Mhm.
that memory. Then there's
Yeah.
hold on a second. Yeah, okay. And then Strand burning his hand trying to save Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
That's that memory. Then the oily walkers coming upon them. And then she sees like this flash of a good memory of Nick, where they're just hanging out.
Yeah. That
And
was
then
nice.
yeah, and then the last one was of Madison sacrificing herself. And it's this mix. That memory of her seeing Madison sacrificing herself.
Mm-hmm.
It's that sadness mixed with, this is what it's all about. Like dying for a greater purpose, like trying
Mm-hmm.
to sacrifice your life for something bigger than yourself. My
Yeah.
kids. These are my
Mm-hmm.
kids. That's my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And she can't do it
Yeah.
because then what was Madison dying for?
Right.
What
Mm-hmm.
what Morgan sees in her, what
Mm-hmm.
Madison said on Althea's tape, and you see that in her face. She's like, I just can't do it. I can't allow myself to do it. I want to do it for you, but I can't. I can't
Yeah.
because no one's gone till they're gone. This is what she was talking about. This is her life. This is what she's sacrificed her life for. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so sorry. This is so very powerful. It's
No, it
very,
is.
very powerful.
It is.
Yeah. I can't believe they weren't going to use that montage. And I could easily see Alicia pull it off.
Yeah.
But having that little assisted nudge did not hurt.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Kim Dickens too. I have
It
to admit.
was. Even and Nick actually. I thought it was really.
Yeah, Nick too. Fine, whatever. I'm kidding.
You are not a.
No, I'm fine. I like Nick. Nick was a good wild card.
Because I will tell you, like I honestly, I still say it. I felt Nick's death more than I felt Carl's death.
Yeah, I mean, I cried flat out.
Yeah.
I cried.
Yeah.
It
I
was
thought it was beautifully done, and I thought it was very sad and unexpected. Whereas Carl's was like, okay,
like you're looking at your watch. You're like,
exactly. I'm looking at my watch, like, is this really gonna happen
you could die
now?
now if you want.
Yeah, I mean, it was a 90-minute episode. Oh,
Oh, I felt like our podcast that time was no, actually no. Because of that, it took very, very little. We just said, "Oh, Carl wants you to make things better." Okay, cool,
all right.
gotcha.
Well,
You
got
can
it.
die now. Fine.
All right, got it.
Cool story, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do it in the end. I mean, in the
No.
end, he did it, but only at the end.
Only at the very end.
Oh boy. Oh, Carl. Poor Carl.
Poor Carl.
Anyway, so yes. So she grabs Charlie by the hand. Okay. And she's just like, and that's that moment where she's kind of like, I'm resigned. There's just no way. I can't do this because of my mom's sacrifice. Otherwise, it was for nothing. Blah blah blah. And not only does she put the gun down, she's taking Charlie by the hand. It's just kind of like, I get it. I get you. This is what it's about. You know, as long as you're not one of them, the walkers, you're one of us.
Yeah.
And we all have stuff. You know, we all have stuff that we have to get over.
Yeah.
So, and just as she takes her by the hand, there's like a couple seconds of a good squeeze, and crash goes the cellar door. So explain the scene.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't necessarily sure what happened at first, but then upon second watch, you kind of realize, okay, something basically like unlodged that basement door latch.
Right. Because you're watching this from a phone still.
A large phone.
A large phone. I'm sorry.
A large phone.
I have to correct myself.
Just saying.
Yeah.
And so, so basically like they see, like, because they tried to open that kind of basement door before and they could not.
Right.
And so now the chains are around it. So now all of a sudden they hear the noise. They see, wait a second. And Alicia, swims underwater to get to that area and realizes that the door is now able to be opened. So she gets Charlie to come over. They open the door and they make their way out into the darkness. And but they do see a walker approaching them, which Alicia shoots. And what Charlie points out is that it was the walker that was impaled.
Right.
The walker that we've been seeing throughout the whole episode, hanging off of this branch. It seems like the winds finally kind of knocked that branch down, and that walker on that branch was the key to basically allowing them to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here too, because there's two specific things. One is that the very thing that Charlie was trying to end her life with
is what saved it.
Is what saved her life. And she says it in her own way.
She says it.
And the second thing is the gun that Alicia uses to put the walker down was the same gun that that Charlie intended to shoot herself with.
Right.
And thus it's kind of like why I wrote these two things down and I kind of went backwards. I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. She grabs Charlie's hand because it's basically these two things going on at the same time. One's in real life and one is in concept. Is that as long as you're not them, the walkers, you're us, and we've all done stuff. We just gotta you have to live with it, move on, and try to make something. Just try to get everybody together and bring people in and all that stuff. So no one's gone till they're gone, and so that just kind of brought it home to me. You know, just you having these two mechanisms, this walker that was going to be used for suicide and the gun that was going to be used for suicide, being used to protect.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just so, it's riddled with metaphor.
There's a lot of metaphors.
It's like an F ton, which I won't say. This is a G-rated show today.
I know. It's very emotional. It's an emotional show. Yeah,
yeah. So, yes. And I literally wrote this. It's it's literally the equivalent of the blunt end for the living and the pointy one for the dead. So we're prioritizing. And it's also Rick's speech to everyone in the field, at the end of all that war. The dead are the enemy. There has to be something after. It was like a mini all-out war.
Yeah, that is true.
I like that I like how these concepts, first of all, are kind of universal for one thing, but it's also like you can really take it and say, okay, if they're not universal, there's a concentration of these concepts in both Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead. Is like there has to be something after.
Right.
It's us versus them, meaning living versus dead, not each other. It
Right,
shouldn't be
right.
like that.
Yeah.
So I love this. I love how they play with this still. So the very next scene, they're burying the family.
Yes.
Charlie retrieves Alicia's quote unquote sword.
Yeah, she does. Her sword. That's for all intents and purposes, that is her sword.
Yep. Her Michonne katana.
Mm-hmm.
And Charlie asks why Alicia buried them. And what does Alicia say?
What does
For the people that could come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they put all the photos also in like a mason jar?
Yeah, she does that a little bit after that scene.
Mm-hmm.
But it's at this point, by the way, that the background music finally comes back.
Yes.
The
The
storm's
storm
over.
is over.
Right.
The storm is
Jinx.
over. Yeah.
You owe me a Diet Coke.
There you go. Diet
A
Coke.
Coke Zero. As in no Coke, bitch. Anyway, so abdicating the sword, Alicia gives the sword to Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
And tries to do it the Madison way all the way. So she says, Alicia says, you're good at finding things, right? And basically implying, can you find all the pictures that must have been blown away from this house collapsing in on itself? And they put it in a mason jar, put it on top of the grave.
Yeah.
And then Charlie says something to Alicia while she's turned around. And she says, basically, I see her in you. She's there.
Yes.
Yep. And then I love it. And again, I love these things because she says it, Alicia smiles, and then it's like one scene into another. Alicia slowly realizes, oh, I'm an asshole.
Yeah, I abandoned Morgan. I left him out in a freaking hurricane. I don't know what happened to Luciana and Strand. Like, I basically just kind of like went off on my own without any regard to how anybody else was doing.
Literally, she finally woke up to that fact. Like, it was one thing when she knew that they could handle it, but this storm was beyond them, and all she was thinking of was herself.
Yeah.
At the time.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, son. And yep, Charlie pointing out she's good at finding things again, meaning we'll find them.
We'll find them. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's put that crap to the test. You better find, like, you're like, they better find John Dory. I'll raise hell. I'll raise hell.
I will raise hell. I will. Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Redacted.
Unacceptable.
Redacted.
Unacceptable.
I will redact this show. So they get to the man. What? Actually, no. Before they even do that, they get in the car, and then you have the scene.
Oh, this was a very beautiful scene.
So you like that? I've heard people who did not like that scene.
Really?
Because they didn't really want Alicia to be kind of, buddy-ish with Charlie.
I mean, listen, I get that perspective also from the sense that it is the way it's hard to necessarily buy that Charlie was able to save Alicia and bring her into the house, in the midst of a hurricane. It is also a bit of a tall order to say that, Alicia is now going to befriend the person who murdered her brother and caused the demise of this home that they had worked so hard to build.
Yeah.
It is a little bit of a stretch. I'm not going to, say that it's not.
Right.
But at the same time, again, Charlie is a kid. She is a child, So I think that, and again, if she had some sort of evil intentions in mind, it'd be one thing, but it's like, she doesn't. She doesn't. And she's not trying to purposely attack. At any point she could have tried to sneak up on Alicia or something, or, she had a weapon. She didn't use it on her. Like, that's not her intention.
Right.
So I think Alicia kind of sees that and gets that. And they've kind of had that moment in the basement where now they've sort of, moved on.
Right. Because when Charlie was pleading with Alicia to end her, and this is important because of the scene that's coming up, is that she's like hysterical. She cannot take the fact that she would turn. She's like, I saw my parents. We were supposed to go to Galveston. We were supposed to go to the beach. And it all turned. I saw them turn before my very eyes. I didn't know it was real.
And then now she can't even remember what her parents looked like
Like,
before that. And
yeah,
she wished she would have had a photo
yeah,
of
and
them.
yes, and so it's these two things. So it's the fact that like she wants to be able to, even through books, try to remember what they look like, but every time she does, she remembers what they turned into, right?
Right.
And so, by the way, and with the photos that they're putting on the graves, it becomes very clear. And then what she mentions before, like on the dinner table, she says, "I wish I had a photo of them." And
Mm-hmm.
so it really starts to become clear. Like it's not immediately clear, but it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
she does the photo thing because of what she's feeling. She's like, I'm sure that if I saw my loved ones turn, or if I've seen what I've seen, it would probably be hard for me to remember what they look like if I saw them, first of all, as dead corpses in front of their house.
Yeah.
Right, Alicia? Right?
Yeah.
So she gathers the photos because it's kind of like, I want to give them something so that they can put in their pockets and say, I will choose to remember them this way. And
Yeah.
it goes back to her because she will never be like, in her mind, obviously, because she's a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
kids, you know, they just
Yeah.
don't, again, they think of the now, they don't know that things can be okay.
Yeah.
And which is huge, by the way, how they were able to capture that and make that a thing, like to kind of evoke that. But yeah, so what I was going to say was, yeah, it's she's thinking she's never going to see her parents, like the image of what she perceived her parents to be
Yeah.
before the whole thing changed. And that's why she expresses it in that way. And it's just crazy. It's
Mm-hmm.
crazy. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so when Alicia's doing that Jedi mind trick, there's kind of like borderline hypnosis. I'm taking you back. I'm taking you back to the beach. What you think is the beach. You smell the salt.
Mm-hmm.
That's that thing. And then Charlie has a moment, and you can explain that moment. It's fine.
She kind of gets transported. She and I'll let you handle
Yeah,
that one.
you got
No, she
this.
kind of
You're good
gets
at this.
transported via Alicia's sort of like, it's kind of a fair assessment to say hypnosis. Like she kind of does sort of lull her into this state where she can envision the water. She can envision her feet in the water, but most importantly, for whatever reason, the description and thinking about it allows her to be able to see herself, the way that
She reads her
that
books too.
and also the way that Alicia talked about, like, standing on the edge and looking back, and that's what she
Oh,
does. Like she looks back and now she can see her parents. She can see them clearly the way that she intended to always see them.
yeah, and I
Yeah, that
don't
was a
think.
punch in the stomach, man.
Yeah, and Alicia, I don't think Alicia thought that that's what was going to happen too. Like I don't think she
No.
thought she would get that out of her. And I think
Yeah.
for all the failures that she's been having recently, and this was probably the biggest win anyone could probably ever really hope for, to kind of
Hmm.
befriend your enemy in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not really your enemy. Like who is your enemy in the apocalypse, really, when you think about it?
Well, you have to kind of have the bigger picture in mind and say, like, there is a common enemy, and the common enemy is the common threat, is what it is.
Right,
But otherwise, we
right,
should all be trying to help each other because we're all we have left in this world.
right, right, right. Exactly. And so why not? I mean, all this kid was trying to do was, I mean, she doesn't have parents.
No.
She doesn't have her brothers, quote unquote, Ennis and Mel.
Hmm. Hmm.
Done, gone. Saw
Yeah.
them killed before her very eyes, by the
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Both of them.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
horrifying. I didn't even think of that until just now. Like, I just realized she saw her parents die in front of her, or at least turn.
Hmm.
She saw her brother, well, Ennis. She saw Mel die.
Hmm.
She saw all those people, all the vultures who took care of her.
Hmm.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
Doesn't what was I gonna say? Do you get a bit of a throwback to Enid? A little bit?
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
A
I
little
mean,
bit.
because Enid was really young too. So was Carl.
I kind of forget how young she was
Totally did.
when they first introduced her, and she had not the same backstory, but obviously like she you I think that they alluded to the fact that she also saw her parents or her family kind of, get consumed in turn and all of that, and she was kind of living off the land on her own for a little bit before she finally, came across civilization essentially.
Yeah. Well, by the way, I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to bring this up in the one of the other prior episodes, probably the ramp up, but I actually came across something regarding Enid. Not about the show to come, but
Mm-hmm.
they had basically filmed a scene with Stephen Yeun as Glenn, like a
Okay.
scene that was ultimately deleted. I was trying to get the scene,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I was watching it over my phone, so I guess either the video didn't load or whatever it was. But it's like a deleted scene, and it basically goes. It's Glenn and Enid, and she's basically explaining this backstory, this seeing her family die, and her mainly to explain the fact that when they were trying to survive, her dad was trying to impart on her to do certain things, and she was just kind of rebellious and
Mm-hmm.
either like, oh, he's so corny, why you're always trying to control things,
Mm-hmm.
okay, whatever, dad. This, and before the apocalypse, during the apocalypse, she was this way, and then she realizes that, like how much she regrets having done that. And when it comes to Glenn and Maggie and all that stuff, like she's kind of like, I don't want to do that again with you guys. And it's a deleted scene, but she says, I got so much from that scene in how I'm supposed to be in season 9, though. Like
Mm-hmm.
how I'm supposed to lean in. This is a girl who just wants parents, who wants a
Right.
father and mother figure. So I'm glad you brought that up because now I could say it.
No,
So
it did definitely give me throwback feelings to Enid.
yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. So if you guys find that clip or that article, it's a worthwhile read. You really get into what's her name's head, Enid's head. Also the Caitlin Nacon. That's what I was trying to remember. Like her thought process in terms of how she builds her character. So that's cool. It's
Mm.
really cool. So
Gotta look at that up.
yeah. So we see that the mansion is trashed
And you know why that mansion is trashed?
because Luciana left the door
Because
open.
Luciana left the fucking door open. Like we talked about this last time, and that was one of the things I noticed immediately. I'm like, what? Can we shut the door behind us, please?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh God.
It's just a waste of a good
I
compound.
mean, really, come on, man.
You don't come across like estates like that very often.
No, you don't.
No, no.
Oh man, yeah, you're so funny.
That's
And
imme-
it's true. It's true.
it's
Screw that.
immediately what I thought of. I
What are
was
you
like,
doing,
oh,
Luciana? Come on, man.
close the
You ain't
door.
gonna live forever.
I mean, like, jeez.
This ain't no Highlander.
Oh, God.
So
So
yes,
that was very frustrating to see that it's just filled with debris and crap and just ugh,
yeah.
squalor.
I love that. The only thing I like about that scene is that how Charlie screams out Luciana's name, Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
like she wasn't talking before, and like, what do you
Yeah.
want? And it's like she can finally talk and tell her how she feels about her and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe, I
Mm-hmm.
hope.
Mm-hmm.
But, because you never know. I don't know if the rest of them are going to come to the same kind of conclusions.
Right.
Um,
Good
yeah.
point.
See, we have more to face, don't we?
Yeah.
I hope. I hope we have more to face.
Yeah, I think so. Tip of the
um,
iceberg.
yeah.
And then eventually they come to the bridge
Right.
and see the
Well,
school bus over.
they first
Oh,
see
even
Morgan's
before
thing,
that. Yeah, I was gonna say before they even get that, they see Morgan's
his little wagon,
yeah.
covered
And they
wagon. What?
well, not anymore. I
Yeah,
mean
uncovered wagon.
they see that it's kind of stripped from like the from its like skeletal base,
Yeah,
basically.
that's right. That's right.
Um and then eventually they come across the bridge and they see the overturned school bus. Um and start thinking about John Dory and June, of course.
Right.
And from Charlie's perspective, she's like, "We got to go find them. We got to go find them and make sure they're okay."
Right.
Alicia's kind of resigned herself to the fact that now they're all gone. None of them survived.
Yeah, I don't know 100% that she's there, but I think she's practical. So what I wrote down was that I think this is where we start to see the polarization. You know, we've kind of seen it throughout the episode, but now there's reasons for it, right? So Charlie's starting to take on the role of Madison, and I think that Alicia recognizes that Charlie gets the spirit of Madison. She picked up something without all the noise of growing up. So she's still got that innocence. She can still learn really quickly that this is a good way to live. See, kids aren't all that bad, right?
The kids are all right. The kids are all right.
The kids are all right.
No.
So then there's the other part, though, that Alicia realizes, and she takes the sword again to take down that kind of...
Walker.
Yeah. And I think she realizes that she has to take on this thing to be the practical person, to be the protector mama bear person for now.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why they're able to be those people is because of what they went through together. Like, I think that there's an understanding there. Like, I can rely on you to be Madison, and you can rely on me to be the survivor. And together we'll make it through this.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of Alicia's angle. Like, of course we're going to try to find them, but she says something very important, and this is all implication. And she says, it's things are always going to get worse, and they're going to keep getting worse until you're not around to see how bad they can get. You know, so she's admitting to kind of certain realities, and she's not wrong.
She's not wrong in that, no.
You know, so she's absolutely 100% right. But you can still, within that framework, still be no one's gone till they're gone. You can still, they could be both things, and I think that's what mini Alicia and regular sized Alicia are right now. They're kind of being this kind of hybrid Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing, but in reverse. So now here's the interesting thing. And when I watched this, I saw this, and it was like this flash, right? They're looking at the bus, and they're about to, and they notice that the walker, and then it's flipped over, and it's this one shot where Alicia's looking kind of like through the slits of her eyes, and Charlie's looking out as well. So like Alicia's kind of got that cynical look, and they're both facing the same direction. It's kind of a profile shot, like a headshot. In a flash, I saw two images in my head. I was like, oh shit, does this kind of looks like what Michael's Satrazemis might envision the birth of Alpha and Lydia. Like, I got this impression right away. Like, like, could this have been like, you know, if I was to do Alpha and Lydia?
Honestly, that's a very good point. I would totally think that if they hadn't already casted Alpha.
Well, yeah, no, of course. That's all I'm saying.
But I'm saying that like this would have been like, personally, a perfect segue to do it, as far as I'm concerned. I still wish they would have gone that route rather than cast a whole new person altogether. Right.
But, I do enjoy the idea of, and again, every time you say it, it's like rape. But I do have this interesting, I can see it more with Alicia than I can with Madison.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then seeing the two together, looking in the same direction in that one profile headshot thing, I saw that. But I did see something else as well. And that was in the very same, like a second later, I was like, oh, are we seeing like a Rick and Carl pair?
Could be.
Where Carl is advocating, you know, for something after, and Rick is kind of like, are you crazy? You know, that kind of thing. So there's this kind of like, you know, like father, son, mother, daughter kind of thing going on.
Right.
It's just in the shot. Fucking Satrazemis. He got me.
He got you, man.
It's so deliberate. And this is the question that I asked him. It's like, I don't know if you were envisioning this, but you tend to shoot things in a deliberate way. You need to look at this shot. You need to just right after they see the bus, slow it down, whatever you need to do. But it's this shot, and it's just them looking in the same direction, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, they're a pair. Oh, wait, what if? And then you go, oh, wait, this is kind of symbolism. This is like the Rick and Carl pair. This is like the cynical adult and the progressive looking child. And I'm like, and that's what I messaged him. And I was hoping I'd get an answer, but my phone's in the other room charging. So, you know.
Oh, wow.
You never know. But I hope he does answer me, and I will update people. Maybe. Actually, I don't know.
You're like, I don't know anymore.
I think it'll just be between you and I, Carol.
No.
Depending.
I know, confidential.
I might say it on the show. I don't know if I tweet it out to the internet or something. That's kind of stupid. That's like giving the milk for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, why buy the cow when you could? Why listen to the podcast when they're gonna give the milk for free?
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
No.
Yeah, don't give up everything.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. I'll write it in the notes for next week, but already. So that's good. Now, sneak peeks are crazy. Crazy. Wizard of Oz crazy. Okay? Because
is this gonna be like another Morgan here is not here kind of episode?
I don't know. I'm not sure, because this is a new Morgan we're dealing with now. You know, we're dealing with a Morgan who's way more self-aware. Like Morgan post Eastman, that was pretty zen, but you could tell, there's something fishy going on here. But this Morgan,
there's a lot under the surface.
It's a thin veneer of zen. But here, this Morgan is the real deal. This Morgan is self-aware Morgan. And it seems like he's just going to have this Alicia test too. I think these characters look like they're going to be put through they're going to be confronted with some real tests. Real tests.
Yeah. And
I'm starting to understand what the back half is going to be all about. It's really going to push them to live up to these principles. You know, Morgan has to live up to friendship and family and being a part of the world and all that stuff. And he's got to, it's kind of like the code that he's going to have to live by and realize, oh, this is the way to be. You know, my old ways, my old habits ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and that explains the Dr. Dog song from the top, do you remember the little trailers that they were playing for the beginning of season 4?
Yes.
That kind of 60s sounding song.
Yeah.
The song's called My Old Ways.
Ah, okay.
Well, and it's going to be playing to the edited version of the song of this podcast if I can get around to it, because I'm going on vacation this weekend. Actually, in a couple hours.
Oh my God! You need to get some rest, dude.
I have to pack too.
You one of those people?
Yep. You see how much I love you guys?
You're dedicated. Your dedication knows no boundaries.
I love this podcast. What can I say?
I do too.
What can I say? I will do.
We wouldn't be up at this time of night if that were not the case.
Yeah, exactly. I would do inappropriate things to get things done for this show. Well, okay, I shouldn't have phrased it that way.
I was going to say, you're making it sound like you turn tricks for this show.
Staying up late is not inappropriate. I mean, unless you have to wake up early to be at a client. That's inappropriate. Anyway. It's ill-advised. I'll do ill-advised. Never mind. I'm done.
Ill-advised.
Ill-advised doesn't sound much better. But anyways, in the sneak peek, we see Morgan. So we have 2 sneak peeks, and luckily the Talking Dead one kind of wraps into the next week's sneak peeks that they have at the end of the show. The one where Morgan is at, he thinks he's in Mississippi because of the semi he's been hiding in. Like, he had to hide out from the storm, and it seems as though the truck was mobile and took him somewhere.
Man, Morgan is just always on the run.
So he couldn't go back to Alexandria, but he can't get back to his people. I think that's going to be part of this episode too. Who does he run to, maybe, once this is all over? Like, who does he go to?
Maybe that's the new group.
Yeah, does he go to the new group or the old group, right? Right? Now that he's in the middle of nowhere, that could be very interesting. But meanwhile, stuff is happening to him next week. He frees a condemned man, it looks like. Like, this guy was put out in the middle of the field with a hood on his head. and a bunch of walkers are about to get him. And he seems to free the guy, but the guy is shady because you see in the next scene that Morgan's tied up, and this guy throws him over this cliff or whatever with this underpass. And he's still tied up, but seems to be able to get up. And there's walkers in the underpass, and they're trying to get Morgan, and this guy's kind of responsible for it. So that made me nervous.
Yeah.
And then we finally get to see Mo Collins. And she says that line, man, which she's been saying on Instagram. She's like, if you can't protect what's yours, it ain't yours. And I was thinking immediately, what does that remind you of? If
you can't protect what's yours, this is not yours. Negan?
Close. We mentioned the road to this place and
Terminus.
And we discovered these people.
The claimers. Claimed.
Boom. Doesn't that remind you of that? If you can't protect
it,
it's not yours. Claimed.
It does. Claimed.
There you go.
A lot of people really like that little red machete.
Emmy nominated.
I know. But you know what? Of all of the little small I don't know what you would call them.
Easter
really.
Eggs? Or
no, well, the little series, those little commercial series that they've been doing, and I don't know what you would call them.
I guess they're called minisodes or webisodes.
Yeah, minisodes, webisodes. Like the most recent one was the best with the claimers. I was like, it's Joe with the claimers.
Yeah, they got better every year. Like I know I mentioned the one last week with the it was called Flight 457 or something, or I think the flight number was also like a nod to Lost, by the way.
I could see that.
You know, I distinctly remember it was like flight 415 or something like that, or 6 something or other. But yeah, that was a nod to that. And then and I was just, and I know I mentioned it last week and I was just kind of all about it, but I thought that was such a clever device to bring the person that was on the plane on the show and blah blah blah. But I was pleased with the last one as well, like how the way in which it tied into the show. And who knows? Yeah, it's crazy. The red machete that ultimately slaughtered Terminus.
I know.
Gareth and all that. But yeah, that's great. Who didn't like that?
We all did.
Yes. And then we have Daryl Mitchell with a shotgun pointed at Morgan's head. And Morgan's tied up and he's kind of like, hey, can you put that down? And he goes, sure thing. And lowers it to we talked about this already, but you know, it's just like I'm sincerely going to enjoy some of this
comic relief.
Yes, just this light comic relief. Just I mean, amidst all this craziness, and then dealing with Morgan's crazy, possibly him coming out the other side to even better Morgan. I'm assuming, but we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah,
this show can. I think it's due a right turn or a sudden left turn. And I am not going to enjoy it, but I hope it's not Morgan. I hope it's not anybody. I'm really liking these characters, all of them.
I am too. I don't want there to be any sacrifices.
Yeah. Anywho, so that's really all I got, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think like I said,
I love that we spent so much time on this episode. I know it's a drag. I know it's like a thing to go through, and it's definitely something that people should watch.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it, for that reason.
I don't remember the last time I felt so passionately about an episode, to be honest. I mean, season 8, I know we covered it. We made some really good observations, but I don't think we've ever covered, aside from maybe the June and John Dory episode. I forget what that one's called though, but
I think it was called Laura.
Yes, it was called Laura. You're right.
I love that episode.
But I loved this episode in a similar way, but I definitely think it's better.
No, I would agree. I mean, the episode Laura was, I loved it for different reasons. Whereas like this is definitely more of a compelling episode for sure.
Yeah, the stakes were higher. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I loved it in the same way because I made almost the same observations, except I kind of went more gaga. But, I mean, yeah, the stakes are way higher. The tension's way higher. It's ratcheted up like to 1,000,000. And it's negativity bias. We're human beings. We like we get like more adrenaline out of fear and fear, The Walking Dead, and
Yeah.
and tension and anxiety, and then once that's gone, you feel this crazy rush of endorphins because
Mm-hmm.
it's like you've been through something, and
Yeah.
that's what this episode was. Close your eyes, which again could sound scary,
I know.
or it could be
I
like
know.
close your eyes, or it could be like this: close your
Oh
eyes,
God. Back to the monster
scary
voice.
house. Yeah, I guess it wasn't that bad of an opener.
Oh.
I'm sorry. See, Carol has headphones on right now, and she's probably hearing me the clearest anyone is going to be hearing this right now. Live, probably not as great. Recorded and edited, not that great at all. But now, she's getting the brunt of it, so I'm sorry.
It's authentic. I
Is it?
appreciate the authenticity. Yeah.
I'm authentically scary.
You keep it real.
Okay, but real, son,
That's all I'm saying.
on this show,
Yes.
I feel like I just ran a marathon. I just feel so great.
It was great. And I mean, we've got Morgan episodes, in my opinion, are usually always top caliber episodes.
Oh
So
yeah.
I think next week's going to be, my hope is that it'll be a pretty good episode.
Yeah, and I think this is the one that Coleman Domingo's directing next week. I'm not 100% certain, but yeah. Look it up, son.
I will.
Not now. Get some sleep.
I know. And you get some rest because you have a flight to catch.
Yeah, I'm heading down to San Fran. Down.
Yeah, enjoy.
Yeah.
Have you been there before?
I have several times.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. It's old hat to me.
Okay. So I don't have to make a recommendation.
Oh, no, feel free. But yeah, it's yeah. And so what we're going to do with this week is maybe just leave the live shows as is.
Yeah.
We'd have to catch up too much to try to edit this one. So the only thing, the extent of what I'm going to be doing with this show is probably just posting the live audio and then just pray to the heavens and that people don't, find it offensive.
It's not. It's
I
really
feel like I may give that a try, work a little less hard, and see where it goes.
I think you know what? I think that's on par because I think that's personally to me, I think that doing it this way is just off the cuff, just what it is. This is what we're talking about. This is how we feel. Take it or leave it. Come at me. There you go.
Wow.
Sorry.
No, I did that right. I just did that right into the mic. I totally didn't expect you to go there.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. And I think there's something to natural speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I this definitely has been on my mind. It's the idea of, is it better to have a podcast on that has the natural way that people speak? Sometimes the fumblings make more sense than when they're edited, and then there's even the way that people listen to things in the background, right? When they listen to podcasts.
I honestly, I will tell you, in my opinion, there was a Walking Dead podcast that is no longer on anymore, but it used to be.
Damn,
and
why?
I think they just got overloaded with too many things that they were reviewing. They were taking on the time. They just don't have the bandwidth to cover as much as they want to.
That's really sad. So, okay.
I know. But their Walking Dead podcasts was among one of my favorites. And it was mostly because, first of all, they were not short. Their podcasts were generally like an hour and a half.
Oh God, maybe ours can get longer.
Like between 2 hours and an hour and a half, I would say. And it was just conversation. It was a conversation between the two co-hosts, and they were hilariously offensive in the things that they would say. Well, offensive in the sense that I wasn't personally offended, but I'm just saying that the things that they would say were very, it was, obviously sometimes you're not using the nicest language.
Like
but
PC offensive or like curse words offensive or
curse
both?
words, I get curse words offensive, but I mean, they were just, but to me, I thought they were hilarious. I thought it was the most honest, hilarious commentary on some of these episodes, especially because some of the things that they said were, you know, I mean, it was true. They were right, and it just needs to be said. Somebody has to be the one to say it. And so I thought it was, as a matter of fact, I will probably send you some of the older, I'll send you a link to some of their older episodes. Because like I said, they don't cover Walking Dead anymore, but they did in the past. And I thought they were funny, personally.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, what is it called, and then I'll put it in the episode description when I get around to it.
It was their brand was called LSG Media, I want to say.
Okay.
And they cover a lot of different science fiction.
Okay.
And I think that they stopped. I don't think that they covered this past season.
Okay.
I don't think that they did.
You're saying not The Walking Dead last season, and definitely not Fear.
Definitely not Fear. And Walking Dead, they didn't cover last season. I think that they stopped at the end of seasons. Yeah, at the end of season 7, I guess.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame them. But
yeah, because I know season 7 was tough.
I mean, having gotten through that, probably for them, it's like, do we really want to put ourselves through this again? And
right.
Spoiler alert, it was kind of like that again.
It was rough. It was rough.
Except they gave you like a little victory before they club you over the head.
Right. But I will tell you, I mean, it was funny. And then, like I said, it was just a conversation.
Yeah.
It really was just a conversation. But I appreciate it. I appreciate that, though.
With all the tangents and stuff, too, right?
With tangents, that's why it would be an hour and a half, 2 hours.
I see what you're saying.
I mean, it was just, hey, we're going to talk about this.
Yeah, maybe we'll take a little bit more relaxed stance. You know what? Here's the thing, and just to give it to the fans, it's kind of like there's something to. I think what we were trying to do, in my mind, was kind of like, let's give people as like everything that we've got right out the gate. If we're gonna make this public now, let's say, like, I know that the first podcast is like kind of like dipping our toe in the water, right? No website yet, just a SoundCloud account, couple of social media accounts, fine. But that first week, fine, I had some really, really good ideas, and then I said, okay, let's do that. Then we didn't even put things on YouTube until like I think the 4th episode, and then so with every episode, every week, and obviously I wanted to edit because first of all I just wanted to get my editing chops up, and I'm really good at it. I mean, if you hear the episodes right now and the differences in quality between the first episode and now, like, I can cut things up to where you would never know that I flubbed. And I flub a lot. You and me, know the way I talk. But when you hear the podcast, it's like you thought everything I thought was clear. Yeah. Not
absolutely
clear. But what I did, every week I just wanted to give more and more and more to the podcast in terms of just increasing the quality, maximizing reach, putting the right keywords in, giving episode descriptions, making things reach, linkable and all that stuff. And just really just improving the visuals on the YouTube videos and stuff like that, and subtle tweaks to even just the first 16 episodes, just giving different background music to different series. I even did a whole new visual for episode 24 in light of it being like in between Fear and in between like The Walking Dead, so I gave it a purple color on the text instead of blue or red, or So there's things like that, and it's kind of like I just continually want to give more to the show, but maybe less is more.
I think
maybe what you're saying is right.
Not even less. I just think like the natural, sort of like natural ebb and flow of a conversation. Like, because for me, I will tell you that for me personally, beyond just Walking Dead, because I listen to podcasts for different things too, just in general, and some of my favorite ones are ones that are just. It's just the conversation between like and just the back and forth between the two co-hosts on whatever it is that they're talking about. And I can just sort of like sit and just sort of like be a fly on the wall to that conversation. And there's something comforting about that. And there's just something that very much is relaxing. And I can just kind of ease into that conversation and just sort of, okay, this is what we're talking about. All right, interesting. Like it just makes you feel very much included as part of what is being discussed.
Right. And
For me.
and you don't have to worry about too much about maybe getting back on track. And as long as everybody's
No.
enjoying themselves, and that's the thing. When I edit the show, I feel like sometimes I have to cut that stuff out.
Right.
And only because of like other people and those considerations. And I feel like honestly, it's remember how we were just kind of like giving the middle finger to the live streamers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It feels like a lot of the time it's for us. So when we get to talking, we go on tangents. That's a lot of that's just for me and you, and that's kind of great. And then it allows us to kind of springboard really springy into like other topics. Because then now we have mojo. We have more mojo because we went onto a tangent and we got to exercise some demons and stuff like that. So
exactly,
you know. So, but maybe that's something people want, and I would really like.
I would love to hear it.
What other people think?
Yeah,
because I was like, okay, you're finishing my sentence because like you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I am wondering about that. I would like to put it to the crowd, not like in terms of making a decision, but I would like to know
feedback,
you know, just for my own self at least. You know,
to
get a consensus. It doesn't have to change our minds, but we'll see.
Just feedback.
Yeah, just lean back.
Absolutely. This is an evolution. It's been an evolution. It's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah. 2 steps. Actually, let's put it this way. It's like 12 steps forward, 1 step back.
Right. You know, because it's trial and error.
Yeah, it seriously is. I mean, knowing what works and what doesn't work. Look at this. Look at what we've done. In 3 live episodes, we've upped our game substantially.
I know. I'm so, I mean, no disrespect for Fear, but I am so amped for when Walking Dead comes back, because I feel like by the time we get to October, I can't imagine where we're going to be.
In a way, I'm kind of glad that Fear's there, because it's like,
yeah, no, it is. It's a good transition.
I don't even know if it's that. It's kind of like what, and this is kind of tied to the episode or this part of season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, but it's this theme where what kind of people are you and I, Carol and Dave, going to be at the end of Fear the Walking Dead, and in what light are we going to be, or what perspective are we going to have once Fear the Walking Dead season 4 is done, when we start looking at The Walking Dead season 9? Who are we going to be when we start analyzing these shows? Because that's how I feel about Fear the Walking Dead right now. That excites me. And then season 9 excites me more, you know? Isn't that crazy? Like this season of Fear is just, I'm trying not to sound like a new age kind of asshole, but it's kind of weirdly life affirming. Okay, it does sound a little much.
It is a good way to look at post-apocalyptic shows.
Yeah, it takes some of those themes that are in The Walking Dead, and then it condenses it in a weird way. Kind of like we were saying, a mini all-out war in some of these episodes. Who am I after this tragedy? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Then the characters on Fear seem to go through some of these things way faster. It's like as if the Walking Dead universe has learned from season 7 and 8's mistakes. They kind of go through things a lot faster, but they go through more things. I think that's just my opinion. They go through more things in a short amount of time. They acknowledge certain things that the main show may not have acknowledged, like some like tragedies that just hang around. Except for Maggie, that shit was real. At the end of it, you didn't know. That was the thing about that scene, that last scene in the meadow with Maggie. You didn't know until it just erupted.
I know, and that was...
And it got you, right? Like you were like, oh my God, she was going through this the whole time.
It did. I didn't really fully realize it. I mean, you know, but you don't.
Yeah, you knew, but like you didn't know how bad. You know, how bad she felt. Oh my God, look at this, Carol.
Yes.
We're at the point where we should say goodbye, and yet we're so fired up.
It's okay. I'm going to channel my energy.
I'm going to channel my chakras
for a Morgan episode this weekend.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so great. I can't wait for it.
I'm always hopeful when it's Morgan.
Yeah. You know what? Your responsibility for Sunday now is to watch it live.
I will. No, I will.
Do you know why? Because I won't be able to.
I know you're not. You're not. That's fine. I'm going to watch it live. It's a Morgan episode.
It's like it's like this weird feeling, by the way. I feel like I'm cheating on my wife in a weird way. Like, no, hear me out. I have to get through this because if I leave it there, it's going to sound awful. But it's like, I'm going to be away with my wife, but I'm going to be thinking of you.
My wonderful podcast.
Fear the Walking Dead. How awful is that? That's crazy.
No, I mean, listen, I am guilty of similar when Walking Dead specifically is back on. There are times where like my husband is trying to have a conversation with me and I'm like, no, we can't talk right now.
Or like sex.
I need to be completely 150% focused on what's going on in front of me right now. The door is closed to my children. I'm like, mommy will be out in 2 hours. 2 hours. That's all I ask for. That's it.
A lot can happen in 2 hours.
Well, it is a lot. Thank God for my mother.
You've had several seasons too to test this, and it's kind of like, I can't imagine all the things that kind of went wrong that you didn't know about that they probably resolved by themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the other side of the door, so it's like I'll pop out during commercials,
Probably.
I mean, but I don't know. I mean, come on, man. It's like
to do the quick pee and all that.
That's all I ask. 2 hours a week. Jesus.
Yeah, you and just so that everybody knows that's not listening. It's like, I cannot see you right now. See, not you right now, but everybody should know that Carol will miss like recordings because she's just so in on her kids and she's all about the kid life. She's all about the work life. She works hard, plays hard, family's hard.
I know everything. I feel like there was a certain point in my life when I first moved down here and I was like trying to find things to do. And now I'm like, at what point was I ever bored? I'm like, there was like no time for anything. It's like my time is at a premium, man. I don't know about you, but I think we live pretty full lives.
Well, I'll tell you right now, it's 2:40 in the morning and I have to leave at 7 in the morning tomorroh. To make a flight.
Not tomorrow, like
later. Sorry, in a few hours.
This morning.
My bad. 5.5 hours, is it? Yeah. Nope. Less.
Oh God.
4.5. 4 hours and 20 minutes.
I've learned to do without sleep, or I've learned to do with
less
little sleep.
Yeah.
Oh,
I pretend.
And at least you have a long flight. You can sleep on the flight.
Let's just put it this way: I've gotten real crafty with the things that I can do to get out of trouble as a result of this podcast, actually, mostly, and but mostly my shenanigans. So there you go. We're making confessions on Squawking Dead today.
I know. It's not just a podcast. It's a therapeutic session also for us.
Yeah.
To get out our thoughts and views,
to feel real passionate about something, to be really into something, and just going ham on it, even though we try to express ourselves well enough,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I was explaining to somebody, I think at work last week, and they were just sort of asking me, they're like, well, how do you, because I think we had to do one of those, like, go around the room, like, tell us 3 things that we don't know about you, those kind of like icebreakers.
Really, bitch?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm rolling my eyes as we speak, but no, I mean, like you have this cynical New Yorker down here in sunny Florida, so these kind of things and exercises,
Team building, whatever.
Yeah. I'm like, are we gonna do trust falls next? Okay, but
oh God,
and I have done those. I have. But yeah, you had to go around and 3 things that people don't know about you, or whatever. And so I mentioned in the podcast, and it was so funny because people just are like, "How do you find the time?" And what's it about? And I'm like, well, like just joyous kind of side stuff, post-apocalyptic horror, the usual.
The usual.
Huge.
A state in crisis, people that don't know who they are anymore.
Just happy-go-lucky stuff.
It's hard to explain this. Honestly, I try to all the time, and I kind of just leave it less is more, and then if they have questions about it, I'll answer at this point. It's tough.
It also probably depends on your audience too, because I find that people are very fascinated when I tell them, because I'm in a field that is so completely different from this, and the crowd is so completely different than your typical science fiction comic book, sort of, fandom, I guess,
Yeah.
that they're actually just very fascinated by the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you dig in on the level that we're digging in,
Right.
And that's the thing I've always liked about the show, is that it's accessible. You know what I mean? There's a human element that everybody can relate to. It's not it's not a zombie, or, as your mother would say, the monster show. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. It's like, it's way more than that.
Yeah, way, way, way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is the level at which I try to, relay things. It's the same as my job, to be perfectly frank. It's my job is explaining, not really explaining high concepts, but making technology accessible to our customers. Making it easy on them, and then if they want to know more, tell them how it works, what we're kind of doing. So you have to dumb it down, So I treat the podcast the same way.
Interesting.
I give them the kind of like, this is why I like watching the show, and it's not just this, it's not seeing zombies and gore and cool deaths, bro.
No, not for me. No,
it's the human element. It's the struggle. It's how do these people under these conditions deal when we can barely deal in the best of conditions? Like we're living our best life right now.
Yeah.
We're living
still a struggle.
At no point in history has things been better than they are now. It's like the exact opposite of the show. Every day gets worse in the apocalypse. Isn't that crazy, by the way?
It is.
That's crazy. I mean, even in times of suffering right now, does not equal the best day in the apocalypse.
No. And I always worry that one day it'll slip away. I watch this show also as a cautionary tale.
I do wonder about that. I mean, the evidence doesn't point to that, by the way.
No.
However, we're always kind of looking. That's what humans do. We're just looking behind our shoulder. Squawking Dead. Look behind your shoulder.
Looking behind my shoulder just in case. Just in case.
Getting that side eye on.
This show, in combination with the hurricanes that happen down here, have forced me to put together a camping survival go bag.
Yes, we talked about this. I love that you brought it up again.
Yeah, no, because it exists. Because my husband asked me today, where are our passports? I'm like, in the go bag. They're in the go bag. They're all in there.
In the go bag?
It's
all in one place, honey.
It's all there, along with medical supplies.
Oh, for God's sake.
Seriously, there are.
Again, I'm not saying you're wrong at all.
No.
You are 100% right. In fact, you make me feel worse for not having one. So.
No. Well, but you guys are in a better place because you're further north.
We're not going there. There's different reasons why New York is way worse. You need a different go bag. You need a different kind. You need Spider-Man wall crawly things. You need a lot of suspension rope.
Oh my gosh.
Seriously, tension cables and stuff. So.
Yeah.
Anywho, folks, it's been a dream.
Dave has a flight to catch.
I got a flight. I got shit to do.
Yeah,
it's
seriously,
one of 2 times that I've sworn on this show.
Yeah, you need to get some rest.
Yeah. So everybody, with that, what a great episode. We're gonna keep it raw. We're gonna keep it live. I'm just gonna compile the audio, throw it up, put some background music on, and call it a goddamn day. So that's how I'm signing off.
That's what I'm doing.
Yo, that's a tough act to follow.
It's it is what it is.
Shit, man, you said it all.
Yeah, you did.
What
I mean, I agree.
kind of a dick about it?
Hey, listen, I'm cool with it. That's
Oh,
fine.
okay, okay. Just checking. Just checking.
Said everything that needed to be said.
Yeah, yeah. Not usually, but yeah. What can you do?
What can you do?
It's two people here. You gotta leave some room.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, folks. Next week, again, episode 27. Just gonna keep going on. Good night, guys.
See ya.